here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is the Angry Chicken.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Angry Chicken, the podcast all about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft, and do we have a lot to talk about today? I'm Garrett Weinzerl, and I'm sitting here with Jocelyn and Dills. Guys, happy day after Old Gods launch, or if you're in Europe, happy Old Gods launch day.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, EU got boned again.
Yep.
Sorry, EU, but welcome to the Old Gods. Welcome to the Aggro Shaman slash, I don't even know what. Like, the decks have been so crazy and weird, and I still see a ton of Aggro Shaman. God damn it, stop it.
Pretty much all you told me, Dills, was it's one day after an expansion came out. That's all you just told me.
Yeah.
Everything is proceeding according to plan.
Well, okay, there was, and we'll get into more of like our experiences, but there was fear beforehand from a lot of people that Aggro Shaman was losing the least of anybody because just Crackle was going away. And yeah, apparently those fears were not unfounded. There's at least where I'm at, which is the dredge. I'm at the pleb ranks of Legend right now.
Yeah.
I think I swear when I lose, I go to the bottom of the total list. I think that it's just like the 5 people who got Legend during my game go straight above me, and I'm square at the very bottom. It goes rank 1, 5 stars, Dills, Legend.
But you can't not be Legend, so it's totally fine. You can
This
lose
is
as
true.
much as you want. It doesn't matter. You still
But it
have
was
that
still
fancy
cool
gem.
to get, back to the top, whatever. But I've just been playing too many weird decks, so whatever. We're not worried about it anymore at this
Weird
point.
decks is the fun part.
That's the fun part, right? I mean, that's kind of what we talk about sometimes when there's this difference between when an adventure comes out and we're getting the X amount of cards per week over X amount of weeks versus just a big dump like this. It's such a different atmosphere. Not to mention, hey, Standard just arrived, so a ton of cards just aren't even usable anymore. So that's why I think, Dills, you're seeing so much aggro shaman because they did lose so little. So, hey, here's a deck we know works and still works because it only lost 1 card.
Yeah. No, and it makes sense. And like I said, I'm at, I'm at rank like 2200 or something like that, right? Which was crazy because I hadn't played at all while I was in San Francisco. Basically, the entire time I was there, I didn't play. And when I left, I was like 1,000, and when I got back, I was like 2,200. So I think it was just all the people who entered Legends, while I was away or whatever, just slotted in right above me. But so I'm playing people who are like rank 2, and so I think you're exactly right, Garrett. These people are trying to get Legend at the very end of a season when Standard's introduced and a bunch of new cards, and so their goal is I'm going to play a deck I know is going to win, regardless of all these new cards, and then when I get to Legend, then I'll start having fun with all the new cards. And I don't even know what they're slotting in from Wrath. I don't think they're putting anything in. I think it's literally just the same deck minus Crackles.
Dills, are you leading us to believe that they're playing a 28-card deck?
Well, they're probably just putting in Fiery Bats or whatever. What's the new aggro card? No, that's the Hunter card.
Well, that's Hunter specific, so.
There's a 2/1 or something that does. It's like it replaces Lepronome or something. I can't remember, but they're like slotting in like just more aggro stuff, whatever aggro stuff they got.
Yeah, I'm honestly I don't know off the top of my head. Can't help you there.
You know what? More power to them though. I get it. I'm gonna sit here and play with N'Zoth and Cthulhu and all that stuff.
Yep.
Well, let me tell you about rank 12, because rank 12, Cthulhu is everywhere. I don't know what you're talking about, this aggro shaman business.
Yeah.
But the fun is being had down at rank 12.
That's awesome.
I was about to hit rank 8 yesterday, and now I'm rank 10 for similar reasons. That and Yogg-Saron. Because Yogg-Saron, let me tell you about the most elaborate coin flip in the history of card games called Yogg-Saron. He comes down, and you just hope it's worse for your opponent than it is for you.
I kind of like that, though. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you both just sit there like for like 30 seconds while all the spells go off.
Yeah, still statistically, it's going to be worse for them than you most of the time, and it seems to have held true to that. The key, though, I think, is finding a deck where you're not totally behind when you play Yogg-Saron, because the deck is not running a ton of threats, and it's just all these spells. And so a lot of times you just don't have anything on the board. They have whatever, and you're like, please clear their board and do stuff and make me win Yogg-Saron, please. And you're at like 5 health or something too. It's dire straits when Yogg hits the board, but sometimes it's awesome. I love that card.
I feel like there's so many amazing stories that are coming out of Yogg. Like our crazy game story folder is just gonna fill up with all
God.
Yogg stories.
Yeah.
There's
They call
like
it
one in the
crazy
chat
Yogg
room right now.
stories.
Yeah, it's like one killed the Sylvanas. I stole the Yogg, so now it was me casting all the Yogg spells. Like what? That's amazing.
Wait, that's not how that works, is it?
Yeah,
There's
that
no
is-
way.
Apparently.
That's
Science.
super cool.
No.
Yeah, I don't. It feels awful to lose to, 'cause it's just like, well, yeah, that was cool. It just happened, but like no one had anything to do with it. It was just complete.
Sure you did. You had to play a
Randemonium.
bunch of spells and stuff, you know?
The right
Just
number
set
of
it up.
spells.
That's what he had to do with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's more skill in setting up a Yogg-Saron massive turn than there is in top decking lava burst. Like there's just I think personally, and you can tell I'm a little salty right now based on just the sheer amount of aggro shaman I'm seeing. But yeah, I would much rather watch my opponent's Yogg-Saron go off than just watch them beat my face in with a Doom Hammer. So
I got to tell you though, my saltiness against the old gods though is making me want to play Aggro Shaman, a deck that I hate playing a lot, because whether it's Yogg, whether it's Cthulhu, it's just like, well, if the old god comes down, I'm in deep shit. So I just want them to be dead before the old god comes down, and it's weird that I'm having this reaction. And I don't want that to be. That was not the reaction I wanted to have, and I'm surprised how much I'm not in. Again, dude, we're like barely 24 hours into this being out, but I'm surprised that my gut reaction is I really hate these old gods and what they've done to the game.
well, they're a ticking time bomb, is what they are. Cthulhu especially. You see
Yeah.
it building up. You
Oh
see
my
it building
God.
up, and you're just like, okay, here it comes. As soon as that, but you know, I've been playing Cthulhu deck as well, and a lot of times it's Cthulhu deck versus Cthulhu deck, and you basically start then planning how to deal with Cthulhu on their end when it comes out, and hope that your Cthulhu doesn't get hit. It's very interesting, the strategic play that actually is built up around this, and I think there's a lot to it. And I think, you know, once we see the pros start pulling these decks out and refine them a little bit,
Oh yeah,
because I think Cthulhu is actually going to be a viable tournament deck.
Oh, it seems so incredibly strong.
Yeah. So once we see pros kind of take the reins on this, and we see people kind of then start net decking it, and we've now seen, oh, here's how some of the pros have handled the they know Cthulhu is coming thing. We'll all start to understand it a little bit better. Right now, it's just kind of like, I hope when Cthulhu comes down, I don't die the next turn, or, you know, like me, I'm saving slam execute or something like that, you know. But even still, Cthulhu just wrecks my board or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's the Wild West right now for sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That said, man, I mean, I'm really enjoying Mid-Range Shaman quite a bit. Master of Evolution is ridiculous. Thing from Below, what a card. Like, what an insane card. Constantly having to think in the back of my head, well, I can totem first, and then I can play, because it discounts it, because that's the way the card works. And I'm having to learn all these things. I'm having to learn all this new stuff, and it's fun to be in that position. It's something we haven't been in Hearthstone in a while.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see who kind of comes out on top, or if nobody comes out on top, that would be even more exciting. And if there's just every class is somehow viable, it is exciting. But I think we all just kind of talked about it before the show. I'm losing a lot right now.
Yeah, me too.
I am just not. And sometimes it feels like I was winning, and then I don't know what happened. Everything
But
flipped
all of a
upside
sudden
down.
you just
I
lose.
lost
Yeah.
the game anyway. Yeah, I'm not sure how to strike a balance yet in the decks that I'm building. I think between, you know, these really cool, powerful cards, and the Cthulhu decks are really difficult to build. You have to fit in all this Cthulhu stuff, but also other stuff to deal with their stuff. It's just, you know, It's crazy. But I'm looking forward to tonight's stream. I'm going to stream a ton. I'm going to open more packs, and we're just going to see if we can find something that works.
Yeah. Yeah, I went up against a couple Cthulhu Druids, and they just seemed very strong because it feels like with the Cthulhu, because as we kind of talked about in our looking at the previewed cards, all of the Cthulhu minions they have really good stats for their mana cost, and then they have something that buffs Cthulhu. So it's like if you can get a good curve out, or as a Druid, if you can mana ramp and get more powerful Cthulhu minions out a turn or two earlier than they should be, and you just curve out nicely. It's really hard to deal with because they're strong minions. Yeah, they're just vanilla. They don't necessarily synergize with each other. But you're just kind of staring down a lot of stats on board, and it's really tough to deal with. And then Cthulhu is eventually coming, and he's been, buffed to behemoth lengths. But
he's a 16/16 or whatever.
Yeah.
But the other cool thing too is that a lot of these Cthulhu cards, once you get Cthulhu to 10 power, you get something incredibly powerful, right? So. And that doesn't seem very hard to do at all. My Warrior Cthulhu deck, the process was essentially put in all the Cthulhu cards, then slowly over time, like, oh, I don't really need this one. I don't really need this one. I don't really need this one. Cthulhu is still a 20/20 when he comes out, Like, I kept taking them out because they weren't doing anything for me. And I just kept in the good ones, and that's fine,
It feels a bit...
Cthulhu is still incredibly powerful.
It feels a bit like how Murloc Paladin got pared down to the bare essential Murlocs you needed for anything to work.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
Yeah, you don't need all that much, but some of the Cthulhu cards also do things like the one does the 2 damage, and buffs Cthulhu and stuff like that. I think Warrior and Druid might be where it ends up kind of landing because I think they have the most powerful Cthulhu cards. Like once you do get the 10, the Shield Bearer giving you 10 armor is a big deal when you have Shield Slam, and the Druid playing a 4/10 or whatever it is, that card just sticks forever. It's like sometimes that card comes out and you're like, I will never kill that. That is never gonna die. It's here for the rest of the game. Just 4/10, damn it.
Yep. Well, any closing thoughts kind of overall just on the launch? Overall, I think it was pretty good. Yeah, there was some lag, but at no point, did the servers just completely go down. You just kind of had to deal with a slow game, which I think, all things considered, wasn't that bad. So I had a really, and especially with our stream yesterday, which folks can go find on our separate Twitch accounts, and I uploaded my pack opening to the A-Move YouTube. I had a blast with the Old Gods launch.
It was really, really fun this time. I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't really do anything else. Like there was no special arena, there was no special tavern brawl. Like it just kind of happened. I would have liked something else that made it feel a little bit more like, yay, launch. And there's other ways to enjoy the launch other than just opening packs. But that being said, the pack opening was super fun. And I've had the most fun in Hearthstone in the last 24 hours that I've had in the game probably in the last 8 or 9 months. Like it's been a really long time since I've actually been like, oh my God, not only do I really want to play this game, but I really want to stream this game. Like I'm all about this game right now. It's so fun. So I think whatever they did with Old Gods, amazeballs.
The sense of discovery goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny too because they didn't, we talked about this. They didn't introduce a new mechanic or anything like that. I mean, obviously some stuff feels like a new mechanic, but they didn't give us some new keyword or anything. It was just, here's some new cards that do something we've never really tried with the current mechanic system that we have. And a bunch of cards got kind of reined in, and the power level has kind of gone back down to where we think it always should have been. And all of that combined with a bunch of awesome new UI changes and everything, the game just feels so fresh right now. And of course, removing a bunch of cards and adding a bunch of cards all at the same time should have this effect. Yes, it should. But I'm hopeful that every time this happens from here on out, it's going to feel this good, and not just this time. I really think that because now this system is in place and everything feels like, okay, we're locked in. This is what Hearthstone is going to feel like every time a new release comes out for the next foreseeable future.
At least once a
really
year,
exciting.
when a block drops off of standard.
Yeah. Every time a block drops off and a new one enters, it's going to be so fun to sit there and try to figure the game out again. And that is a feeling that we haven't had for a long time, because every single time new cards were added, it was just slotting them into existing deck archetypes. Very rarely did something new come along, and most of the time the new thing came along and wasn't that good, so it went away pretty quickly.
Yeah, Joust.
Oh, poor Joe.
Secret Paladins didn't happen every single time they released cards. That was very rare.
And even if they
By
did,
the way, I did play some wild games. I played against 3 Secret Paladins. That's where the Secret Paladins have all gone.
I still want to try my
3 wild games, all Secret Paladin. It was pretty funny.
At some point, I'm going to sit down and figure out my Divine Shield Paladin for wild because of that card that gives, anytime you summon a 1 attack minion or whatever it is, give it Divine Shield.
Disgusting.
So Muster still exists in wild.
Yep.
Oh, I can't wait to try and build that deck. I just at the moment, I just wanted just all standard all the time. That's all I'm interested in because it's so...
Sure, it's the new hotness.
It's the new shiny.
I was going to say...
I played the Death Rattle Hunter over there, although I don't have... I don't have N'Zoth yet, and there's a couple other cards and I don't have the Princess, whatever. So
Hearthstone.
I made the Princess and I made the Rogue Legendary.
You can still make the. I mean, it was basically a Feign Death Hunter with a couple of other new really cool tools, and the 3/3 that pops out 2 spiders that are beasts. That's sick. It's so disgusting.
So good.
Infested Wolf, I think.
And then when you get all those guys out, and then you unleash, and then you cast Infest. And then you just fill your hand up with beasts. It is so good. It is amazing.
It's super freaking cool. Well, we have a lot of cards to discuss, but before we get into that, let's thank our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC. I know we talked about this on our emergency card nerfs episode last week, but I'm going to reiterate here. We've gotten to do some really cool things lately because content creation is now our full-time job, and it's all because of you guys, our patrons. So thank you very much. If you like the Angry Chicken, if you dig the show, head on over to patreon.com/TAC. That is the best way to support the show. This episode, let's thank Caleb Dell, Andre, I'm just going to say H, Dwayne, Kenneth Downey, Cole Kuntz, Rhonda Blick, Greg Oat, Gustavo Bondin Baumgarten, and Chris Bouvette. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. And we have a lot of cards to talk about, so why don't we also thank Squarespace at this juncture. Squarespace.com, you can use the code TAC at checkout. You'll get 10% off your order. And we love Squarespace.com. amove.tv is a Squarespace page. The Angry Chicken is coming to you live via an RSS feed through a Squarespace page if you're listening to this on the podcast. So check out Squarespace.com, use the code TAC, get a discount.
I will actually say, too, I'm using Squarespace for josplays.com, and I've never actually done, any of the podcasts I'm on, someone else is always doing the recording, the RSS stuff. It is so freaking easy using Squarespace. I did it all in probably 20 minutes. There's a help page that says, push this button, enter this information, and then all of a sudden, poof, you're on iTunes. I was like, I love you, Squarespace. Yep. You are my new favorite person.
It is delightful. Also, Jocelyn, you don't get how this works. You're not supposed to talk about how the product actually helped you. You're supposed to come up with some ridiculous, long-winded story that actually has nothing to do with Squarespace, but is highly entertaining.
I'm sorry, I'm not more entertained.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong, Jocelyn. You're actually selling the real product. That is just no.
Oh, damn it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's great.
I apologize,
Squarespace. What else Squarespace does? Squarespace also, you can put a little powder in some water and make fake bread like you get in Star Wars. That's what Squarespace will also do for you.
No way! I must not have found that. I must not have found that help page yet.
Practical effect,
it's
by the way.
It's deep into Squarespace. It's at the very bottom. You have to go all the way to the bottom, click contact, then terms.
Oh.
And it's, and then you find the magic bread page. But
then
you'll get there. You'll get there. Don't worry.
Magic bread. I love it. Squarespace.com for all your magic bread needs. Now let's get into our strategy talk, which is going to be about a lot of cards.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
Alrighty, so we have a lot of cards to talk about. Since we last recorded a non-emergency episode, we had a stream with Frodan and Ben Brode, and they played a bunch of games, and then by the end of it, all of the rest of the Old Gods cards have been revealed. So we've got a lot of them to go through. So yeah, that's where we stand. So let's dive right into it. First up, this is in no particular order. This is Hearthhead's feed from the stream, which just made things easy for us. So thank you, Hearthhead. Let's talk about Zealous Initiate, a new common neutral minion. It's a 1/1 for 1 and has a death rattle that reads, give a random friendly minion +1/+1.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
This card's fine.
Yeah.
It's not great. I mean, it's not something you want to just drop on turn 1 and then you have it just die and do nothing. But, it's fine. I saw a Death Rattle Hunter playing it, and it seemed like it did something there. Because they had so many Death Rattles that eventually they had just stuff on board, and you couldn't really just clear this before other stuff. So, but it's too easy to play around as like a 1-drop itself. So I don't think it's really going to be some meta-breaking card that goes into all kinds of decks. I think
if this does go into your deck, it's not necessarily something you're hanging on to in your opening hand.
Yeah, it's a specific card for a specific deck, but it's cool.
Yeah.
It's more ways to make 1-drops. Good job, Blizzard.
Woo! Well, let's talk about a new common Warlock minion, Usher of Souls, which costs 5 mana, has 5 attack, 6 health, and reads, whenever a friendly minion dies, give your Cthulhu +1/+1 wherever it is.
Yeah. This actually seems like a very strong Cthulhu card just because the 5 mana, 5/6 as just vanilla stats is really good. It'll eat up 4 drops, And now I think Warlocks have a lot of tools. I haven't tried Cthulhu Warlock yet, but Warlocks have a lot of tools, I think, to make Cthulhu very, very good. I mean, you could do Cthulhu Reno or something like that. Give yourself like a lot of chances to tap and then heal later on. You could do this with the what's the forbidden thing that the Warlocks have that just pops out 1/1, so you can make a bunch of tokens. Obviously, you got Imp Gang Boss still. There's a lot of like really cool token generating cards even without Implosion for Warlock, so you will be running a lot of little dudes into stuff and buffing your Cthulhu. So
they're not even necessarily little dudes, just other Cthulhu minions that are already on the board. You can drop this, run them in, start trading, and buff the crap out of your Cthulhu. This is another one of those Cthulhu minions where I'm just kind of like, wow, man, I mean, it's so well caught. It has such a good body for the mana cost. I wouldn't mind Cthulhu minions being in Arena.
Right.
Yeah. But whatever. Like I agree with I agree with their reasoning behind but I don't think it would break Arena. I just think it would dilute the card pool even more, and with these very specific cards, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, tonight on the stream, I'm definitely going to try Cthulhu Explorer deck essentially. So with Bran and Elise and Cthulhu and all this stuff, just have all these ways where you're just trying to stall out and get to the end, but now you get Cthulhu minions that kind of have to be dealt with, and I think it's going to be an interesting deck for sure.
Yeah,
I haven't seen a lot of Cthulhu Warlock yet.
No, I haven't seen Warlock at all. I've seen Priest, Warrior, Rogue, and Druid.
Which is surprising because Warlock, to me, the thing with Cthulhu decks is actually getting Cthulhu into your hand, right? And Warlock just has a way to do that, just tapping.
I wonder if just the tapping, it takes too much health. Like you're too low by the time you actually get your Cthulhu.
It's possible. I mean, without heal bot and stuff to just fill your health bar back up.
That, yeah.
But that's why I think a Cthulhu Reno deck could be really, really good because Reno is the ultimate way to fill your health bar back up. So,
do you think that there's enough Cthulhu minions to actually do one-ofs? Like, and would Cthulhu get buffed enough to be useful?
Yeah. Absolutely, I do. Because I don't play. I think in my Warrior deck I'm playing like 7 Cthulhu cards or something. It's really not that many, and Cthulhu generally gets buffed anyway because they all buff like +2/+2. And Cthulhu starts at 6/6. So you really only need a couple before he's a 10/10, and then once you get to like 12/12, 14/14, that's a pretty big deal.
What's the gnome that has 4 health that at the end of your turn it gives Cthulhu +2/+2?
The 3/4. That's the Twilight. Oh man, I can't remember. I actually cut that one.
The thing is so obnoxious.
It really is because it must be dealt with. But I actually ended up cutting that one because it really doesn't affect the board at all. Like you play it and it's a 3/4, and a lot of times I just felt like it died. Right?
Yeah. Since I've been playing Shaman, that card has just turned. I don't know what it's called. I just call it the Pray for a Spell Power Totem minion.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to always have Hearthhead open, by the way, during this show. And just be looking at all of the new cards because there's so many new cards all at once, and I just can't. Yeah, I can't always place them in my head.
Well,
I know I'm having such problems even remembering like what's in and what's out. Like, oh, this would go really well with. Oh, wait, never mind.
Yeah, that's the Twilight Elder, I think.
Oh, it's +1/+1, not +2/+2.
It's +1/+1 at the end of your turn, so you always get at least the 1+1/+1. But most of the other ones are +2/+2, and you get it like much quicker, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about Twisted Worgen, a new common neutral minion. It's going to cost you 2 mana to cast, has 3 attack, 1 health, and stealth. Okay.
Yeah.
It makes sense for the mana you're paying.
This is like an aggro card, though, to me.
Yeah.
It's similar to why you play the 1-cost 2/1. You play this because it sits there and doesn't die, and then you get the 3 attack next turn.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially
so
in
if
a
I'm
charge.
playing,
Now we're living in like a post-charge world for the most part. There's not a lot of
charge
charge
is going to be
anymore.
harder to come by, right? You still have Wolf Rider, you still have the Murloc, you still have Leroy, but no more Arcane Golem. So if you're trying to play an aggro deck, and also Leopardome is still does the 2 damage, but it's still much weaker.
Mm-hmm.
So to play aggro is going to be a little bit less of a I play the card and I immediately do the damage, rather than I play the card and I try to guarantee that the damage will go through at some point.
Yeah.
So it's slowed aggro down just a touch outside of Shaman, who just casts the spells at your face. But, this card I think will have a place in those types of decks.
Dills, are you having trouble with Aggro Shaman? I can't tell.
It's not that I'm having trouble with it. I beat it okay, but it's just everywhere. It's so annoying,
Yeah.
And playing against that, you were the one who raged against Aggro Shaman. I was playing it. I was like, whatever, man, it's a deck. But the problem with it is that the game is determined based on how they draw and not anything else,
I don't think I ever raged against. I mean, it's possible I didn't. I forgot. But I'm pretty sure I was just kind of like, I just don't like the deck, guys.
Yeah.
So I never. It was never a point where I felt like I was seeing it too often. So just kind of like, okay, every now and then I come up against.
I think just within the meta that we had, it was just one of the many aggro choices, and now I think it's kind of like the aggro choice, and that's why you're just seeing it so much.
Well, again, we're in the first 24 hours, so
yes,
I think it's just comes with the territory of tryhards. They're just gonna well, what still works almost exactly the same. Aggro Shaman, cool. That's what I'm gonna play.
Yep.
So you're telling me I should just go and try hard and play Aggro Shaman?
Probably not a terrible idea.
I mean, if you're trying to win a lot of games, yeah, it works pretty well. I did pull out my old Aggro Shaman list, but I still hadn't altered anything, so I still had leopard gnomes and stuff in there. and once I actually made a couple of changes, it crushes people's dreams because they're trying to set up Cthulhu and stuff, and then you're just like, yeah, well, you're dead already. So
well, let's talk.
Look how big your Cthulhu is, but you'll never see it.
Let's talk about a card that's been crushing my dreams: Twin Emperor Veclor, new neutral legendary minion, 7 mana, 4 attack, 6 health, taunt, and a battle cry that reads: if your Cthulhu has at least 10 attack, which would really just say if your Cthulhu is in a deck that makes sense, summon another Emperor. And what that is, in case you're not sure, it's another 4/6 with taunt.
yep.
This is a really strong card.
It's so
this
good.
card's amazing. Yeah,
I
so I
crafted
crafted
this last
it.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, if I'm playing Cthulhu, I'm just a dumbass if I don't have this card in my deck.
It's an auto include, I think, in every Cthulhu deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing, and for 7 mana, you pretty much always are getting 2 4/6s with taunt. It slows everybody down that's trying to rush your face down. This is how you win against all that aggro stuff. Is this card right here?
Yeah, here's the pitch for the card, man. Imagine this comes on your radio in your car. Are you confused with Standard? Do you not know what to put in your 7 mana slot with the loss of Dr. Boom? Are you playing Cthulhu? Well, look no further. Just put Twin Emperor Veclor in. You're fine.
Pretty much. Yep.
Well done,
I mean,
Radio Garrett.
Thanks.
Yeah, he's insane. My Cthulhu Warrior deck is actually super fun too because I put in what's the legendary they got Malkarok.
Oh, I don't have that,
Dude, he's so good. So like my 7 drop game is strong right now in that warrior deck. I'm like, just wait till turn 7, you son of a, like, I'm going to get you. And every single time when I get to turn 7, that's when the game turns around for me because it's either this or that. And yeah, both of them are amazing.
Yep. Also, I feel like adds a little more interest to the Cthulhu game because Dills, how do you feel, Dills? Not to slow this long chat down even further, but how do you feel now? Because I know last couple episodes you were like, man, Cthulhu just seems like it's going to be boring. They're all just really well costed cards and they just buff Cthulhu. But here's like a supremely badass and really good legendary that doesn't buff Cthulhu, but is buffed by, well, in a sense, buffed by Cthulhu.
Yeah, I've actually the cards we didn't know about at that time have really, really changed my feelings on Cthulhu decks overall. I think Cthulhu decks are actually now very fun because Now it's striking a balance between the Cthulhu cards and the cards you need to make a Cthulhu deck live long enough to actually get him out and draw him and do all that other stuff that you have to do. So it's actually a really fun kind of tightrope to walk. Is how much of my deck do I spend buffing Cthulhu, and how much of my deck do I spend living until I get to Cthulhu? And then how do I deal with people who can just deal with Cthulhu really easily? Think about when a priest entombs your Cthulhu or something like that. What am I going to do in that scenario if I haven't won the game by that point?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of now really interesting tools that they've thrown in, and now the question is, like, do I put in 1 or 2, or how do I figure this out? And it's actually quite interesting. I've been having a great time playing the Cthulhu Warrior. It might be the main deck I run, over the next few days, because it's very interesting. The gameplay is actually really strategic.
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
Let's talk about Twilight Geomancer, a new common neutral minion, costs 2 mana, has 1 attack, 4 health, taunt, and a battle cry that reads, "Give your Cthulhu taunt," wherever it is. I've been seeing this in Cthulhu decks, and it is rather annoying. Slows things down.
I'm not putting it in mine.
It
No.
reminds me of Wormrest Agent, without the upside of getting more attack.
Sure, yeah. The problem here is it's just always a 1/4 with taunt, and so it doesn't trade very well. And then also, I don't really want to give my Cthulhu taunt. I don't want to give my Cthulhu battle cry dies to Black Knight, which is back.
Oh, yes, yes. That's actually a really good point. That's the thing with Cthulhu, right? A lot of classes, chances are, know from a mile out that you're playing a Cthulhu deck and are probably saving some type of removal for him. So taunt doesn't really help, because either they have an answer for Cthulhu or they don't. And like you said, Dills, giving it taunt just gives them one more conditional removal.
Yeah, I mean, I've been running Black Knight because it's really good when they play Twin Emperor, because you just kill one of those 4/6s off straight away. Also, Druids are now playing Ancients of War again, and just you're seeing a lot of taunt minions that are bringing that big swingy feel back that it used to have when people were running those things. But Black Knight wasn't that great when you killed like the first half of a Belcher. That was like the best it would ever be, right? Now there's just like a lot of really great targets, I think. So I've been seeing him a lot, and I don't want my Cthulhu to die to that. So nope.
Yep. Let's talk about a new priest minion, Twilight Darkmender, which is rare, has costs 5 mana, has 6 attack, 5 health, and battle cry that reads, "If your Cthulhu has at least 10 attack, restore 10 health to your hero." We saw this in the stream with Ben Brode and Frodan, and that's a lot of healing that you're probably going to get. So
it's similar to the Shield Bearer in a sense, except that you don't get any side benefit of having a bunch of armor that then you can use as removal. But still very good, and also cheaper, right? So you pay 5 for this, and you get a 6/5 body. It's a good card if you're playing Cthulhu. I think you definitely put it in your Cthulhu Priest, right?
I mean, we tried trying to make Joust cards work that would heal us, and that was a lot harder to guarantee you were going to get that heal over what this is asking you to do. So no, I think Twilight Darkmender is a perfectly fine minion.
Are you, Jocelyn? Have you tried the Cthulhu Priest? Has anybody tried Cthulhu Priest yet?
No, I pretty much tried everything that wrecked my face yesterday. So I didn't actually. Whenever I went up against Priest, I won. So I didn't try to build that, but I built Hunter, Warrior, Rogue, and Shaman. So no Priest yet, but I feel like all of these that depend on your Cthulhu having at least 10 attack, all of these cards are super strong and pretty much include in whatever the class happens to be. Like, I don't think that I've seen one yet where I'm like, oh, that one's kind of bad. Yeah,
unless it was, I feel like 3 mana or below. I think that's the only time I would look at that and be like, I don't know if that's possible. But at 5 mana, I'm like, hell yeah, my Cthulhu's going to be 10 or above.
Yeah, you play 2 Cthulhu cards before turn 5 and you're good. That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you mentioned Joust and the Joust healing. Like, this one, you actually know, like, am I going to get the effect or not? Yes or no. So there's a lot more control about when you play it. Like, Joust, you're just like, I hope this works.
My deck has a lot of big dudes in it.
Yeah. So I think, these are way better than Joust cards.
Yep. Well, let's move on and talk about Stormcrack, a new common spell for shamans, which will cost 2 mana to cast and deals 4 damage to a minion with an overload of 1.
All right.
Good spell.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a Shadow Bolt that you pay the rest for later.
Yeah.
It only goes minions, cannot go face. I mean, Do shamans need this though? I don't know.
I'm running one in my deck
running
at the
one?
moment, just
Yeah.
one, but it has come very in handy. Like I said, a lot of Cthulhu cards. With the shaman, if someone has 4 health, it's kind of hard to deal with.
Sure.
Because right now the thing with shamans are running one of the Twilight Hammers, so if you don't have that, it's hard to deal 4 damage. And if you typically you just run Lightning Bolt, and if you don't have spell power, then you're not going to be dealing 4 damage. So
Sure.
Stormcrack is a little bit of an insurance policy against these 4 health minions.
That makes a lot of sense. I think it's a very good arena card for sure. It's a common, and shamans, it's basically like lightning bolt or bust a lot of times in arena for shamans. So, yeah, I think I'll definitely be picking this in arena.
Oh, I think it's a huge buff to Shaman Arena.
Yeah.
It's just more common removal. Like, that's fantastic. But I think it has a place in Constructed, depending on what the goal of your deck is. Probably not going to run this in aggro because it can't go face. You'll just risk finding spell power if you need to deal with something that has 4 health. But I think in mid-range or control shaman, it's a perfectly fine addition.
Yeah, I haven't messed around too much with the mid-range shaman yet, but I'll definitely be trying this card out. It seems viable. It's just funny to me because I look at this and I think Shadow Bolt, which just never really got into constructed play ever.
Yeah.
Even in vanilla when there wasn't that many options, it still wasn't really used. So I'm a little wary. Like anytime it says like minions only, it's always just like, I want to be able to go face if I need to,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if nothing else, Dills, be happy that it specifies a minion, because otherwise you would see this also in aggro.
I know.
This would be
Aggro
replacing
even grosser.
Crackle, but it's not because of that. So, any thoughts, Joss?
No, I think it's just, I mean, a lot of these, well, not a lot of these cards, but some of these cards are very much just like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Like, yep, you nailed it.
Sweet. Well, then let's talk about a common neutral minion, the Squirming Tentacle, which sounds gross and looks gross. It will cost you 3 mana to cast, has 2 attack, 4 health, and taunt. So it's 2/4 taunter for 3 mana.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to see play ever, unless you're doing some sort of taunty bolster deck in Warrior, but even then, I think there's better options out there. And in Arena, it's possible you'll pick this, but you'll be sad. You won't be super excited because it's not a 3/4 or a 4/3.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're technically getting like the baseline amount of stats that's okay for spending this type of mana, but it's not allocated in the most helpful way.
Yeah, I mean it's power creep over the monkey, right? The beast, the 1/4 with taunt.
Oh, you're correct. I didn't even think about that.
But
With Silverback.
but it's not a beast, so yeah, you get 1 more attack.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Even then, like that, I don't think like on turn 3 in Arena. A lot of times now, I think Arena players are valuing 4/3s over the 3/4s because they will trade up into 4-drops sometimes.
Yep.
Whereas sometimes 4-drops would just eat them alive, and you wouldn't get anything. So this will get eaten alive by every 4/3 in the game. So that's a problem.
Yeah, it's a bit of an issue. Let's talk about a new common rogue pirate, the South Sea Squidface. I love the art on this one. 4 mana, 4 attack, 4 health, and a death rattle that gives your weapon +2 attack.
This card,
It's so cool.
yeah, this card's amazing. But this card also gave me like some sort of weird brain aneurysm when I first saw it because I kept saying Squid Sea South Face, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop every time I looked at it. It's like, oh, I got another Squid Sea South Face. I
love it. I love it so much.
South Sea Squid Face. I don't know why it doesn't roll off my tongue at all. I
I
cannot.
don't even know how you put those words in those places.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense, but that's what happened to my brain.
Hey guys, have you gone to that new water park? What's it called? Squid Sea South Face?
Yeah.
Well, where is it? Well, it's on South Sea Drive, and everyone has squid seas. I don't know. I love that, though. Please, Dills never change.
The art is directly ripped out of Pirates of the Caribbean, right?
Oh, completely.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
It's got.
I didn't watch a lot of those movies. I think I saw the first one. And then
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely squatter and more colorful than Davy Jones. And
or
Davy
whatever.
Jones never had a parrot, but
okay.
I mean, come on, yeah.
Maybe he should have.
A little bit
Yeah.
of a. Little
Give
bit
the
of
man a parrot.
a wink and a nod there. He's very. It's like if Davy Jones was a little more Cthulhu-esque. So,
But yeah. By the way, the card is really good.
yeah,
And it's all over Rogue Deck. It's another way to buff your weapons. So, this was one of those cards where you looked at it and you said, maybe this is why Blade Flurry had to be changed because you could Deadly Poison, then you could do this, and then you'd have a 5-attack weapon pretty easily. And you played a 4/4 on 4, so, and when it's played, it's pretty tough to just, you want to kill it, obviously, because you don't want to just leave a 4/4 on the board, but you're buffing the weapon, and then it takes away some of the potential plays you're going to make, and it's just really good. It's really good in Rogue. I think Rogue is going to be very strong once people figure out exactly what archetype is the right one to be played.
I'm very excited about Rogue in it. Honestly, I know I said when we were talking about the nerfs that I think the Blade Flurry nerf was a little heavy-handed, but that in mind, I kind of like this world where it's not insanely strong and it hasn't pigeonholed the design of Rogue.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it. It's Blade Flurry at a certain point became sometimes like a 2-mana Flame Strike that also hit face, and that was just kind of crazy. So when you think about that, it really does limit what you can give Rogue as far as weapons and weapon buffs. And this card I don't think could be possible in the 2-mana Blade Flurry hits your face world. So
yep. Let's talk about Silithid Swarmer, a new rare neutral minion, has 3 attack, will cost 3 mana, has 3 attack. That wasn't incorrect. 5 health, and can only attack if your hero attacked this turn.
This card's interesting. I feel like I want to put this in a Rogue deck because a lot of times on turn 2, I just make a dagger.
Just dagger, yeah.
And then it'd be sweet to do on turn 3 to play a 3/5.
Yeah.
And then be able to make it do stuff. But, of course, it would be forcing you to continue to dagger up, but a 3/5 on 3 is really, really good. I'm going to try it. But I'm not convinced yet.
Yeah, I think in any type of weapon-heavy deck, this might have a place. It's very curious, right? Like maybe Warrior as well, especially maybe in Wild.
Druid?
Well, Druid, yeah.
Druid.
But Druid, you literally have to hit the button every single time you want to make this attack, right? And
yeah, so
that's why I think Rogue gets the best here because they can do the weapon up on turn 2. And a lot of times that's just what they end up doing anyway. And then on turn 3, you play this. And then from every turn after that, you've got 2 turns you can make this attack,
Mm-hmm.
So it seems very strong there. But I'm not convinced until I actually try it out. I'm surprised that this isn't a beast, though.
That's what I was going to say, it seems very odd that it's not. I mean, I guess technically the Sithilids are like insects, kind of, but it would have made sense to be a beast, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It's I guess Silithids aren't technically beasts, but I don't know. That would have been cool for Druid, right? Because then you here's another beast.
Yep.
And
exactly.
then you can also make it attack. Yeah.
They want Beast Druid to be a thing, but then they don't give us good
Then they don't
beasts.
give you all the tools needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird question that's probably not important, but it's now bothering me. Do any of you know if we can skin Silithids in World of Warcraft?
Ooh, I think you could skin a bunch of stuff, but I don't remember if all of the Silithids were skinnable.
Because I think you can skin spiders, but I don't think you can skin Silithids.
I used to skin a lot of stuff, though, in Silithus, so...
Yeah.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. My Exna is a beast, but my Exna is not a Silithid.
The Exna is a big spider,
It's
not
a
a
spider,
Silithid.
yeah.
Yeah, Silithids are a very specific thing.
Silithids are like their own race within Warcraft lore. And spiders are just spiders in Warcraft. However, in Warcraft, they get very big, but they're still just spiders. Unless you're a ghost spider, then you're not a beast. You're just a ghost in the shape of a spider.
So many beast rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to think about
Kraken's
it.
not beasts.
'Cause
Silithid's not beasts.
Because I remember in WoW, like, I forget, killing something, I think it was like Naga, and I'm like, well, why can't I skin Naga? They seem like they would give me leather. And it's like, well, they're humanoid. You can't skin humanoids because that's terrifying. But, so that's why I was wondering if there was that distinction, and maybe that leads us to the distinction, the line they have drawn in Hearthstone, but who knows, not important. Let's talk about Shatter, a new common mage spell, which will cost you 2 mana to cast, and it reads, destroy a frozen minion.
I really like this card in combination with I can't remember what it's called now, but basically the Flame
Collar?
Waker, but with ice.
The Frost Collar, I believe.
Yeah,
there was some word before that, but
Frost something, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically the one that when you cast a spell, it freezes something. So then you could cast Shatter and destroy whatever it freezes, and then it freezes something else. Like, yeah, I really like that synergy. I'm excited to do some sort of like tempo-y, freezy hybrid mage thing.
Yeah. Demented Frost Collar. After you cast a spell, freezing a random enemy minion. The problem I see here, though, is that it's going to take so much to make this work.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
Frost Collar itself is a 2/4 for 4. So you play a weak minion, Then you have to play a spell. Then the right thing gets frozen. Then you shatter that thing. Like, it's going to take a lot to actually make this actually happen. So I see the synergy, but I also see a big setup that's not going to work all the time, right? If they have 2 minions on board and one of them's Ragnaros and one of them's a 1/1, and then it freezes the 1/1, you're like, damn it! Okay, I'm not shattering a 1/1. That could be a little bit tricky. So we'll see. I do think, though, that Freeze Mage lost a couple of spells, or a couple of things like Mad Scientist, and this does give them a way to deal with tough to deal with minions.
They're fine. They're totally fine.
No, exactly.
They didn't lose enough.
Without slotting in too much else, they keep the base of what they were using, and then just slot in a couple of shatters to just deal with some of the minions. Because sometimes there would be like a big minion, and you would freeze the board, but you're like, I'm not actually killing anything here. I'm just freezing it. And this will be, for 2 mana, I can then decide to just kill off that big, hard-to-kill thing.
Yep.
So that I could see it being used there, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you, Joss. I like the idea of that type of freeze mage, like not what we think of as a freeze mage, but this kind of like you're actually controlling the board through freezing as opposed to just buying time until you can burn them from 30 with spells.
Yeah, I don't like the just sit and wait and like pause.
It seems
thing.
incredibly uninteractive, and
Yeah.
I'm really,
Well, it is.
really done with it. And it was probably the single most disappointing thing that happened yesterday for me was losing to freeze mage. I'm like, yeah, all these new cards. Who knows what's gonna happen? And freeze mage.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think Freeze Mage is good that it exists, like a class like that, because it is a class where you kind of have to learn how to play against this to really be a well-rounded Hearthstone player. And I wouldn't really be happy that if like that just went away, because that was in the grand scheme of things, when you're talking about control decks, that is like the grandfather of control decks. Like, I literally just stop your damage from coming into my face until I can then burn you down. And it's a very strategic play style, and some of the coolest competitive Hearthstone matches we've ever seen have been Freeze Mage matches, where you see, plays you didn't see that, the best player in the world saw made the difference there, and not necessarily just a knife juggle went here instead of there or something like that. It was strategic play that got you there. And this is a cool little tool that kind of you can slot into that deck, I think, that still keeps the deck somewhat where it was, but now you actually do have some old gods something in there.
Can't you just let me be disappointed that I'm seeing a deck that I've seen since
Well, look,
vanilla?
it's disappointing to lose to every deck. I mean, that's the truth, and I totally feel the disappointment when I lose to Freeze Mage too. But it's a deck I think it needs to be in the game, because it does something. It counteracts the flood the board with dudes decks in a really real way.
Oh yeah,
Keeps them in
absolutely.
check.
I don't disagree with you. I was just yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, oh, come on, who does this? Who does this on launch day?
Yeah.
So, let's talk about Shadow Strike, a new common rogue spell that costs 3 mana to cast and deals 5 damage to an undamaged character. So it can go face, but the hero
Ain't gonna kill anybody.
can't be damaged. So really, this is 5 damage removal. I've seen it come out, and man, this deals with a lot of threats.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's the thing about Rogue, though, it's funny though, is because they already had a way to deal 4 damage for 2 with Eviscerate, and it wasn't often that you couldn't quite do it. But here's just like another thing.
Yeah,
and so
the thing with
this gives
Eviscerate-
Rogues more tools.
The thing with Eviscerate too is it was always nice to have 1 or 2 left over though at the end of the game, because it's like, well, I can just go face with this, and now it feels a lot better using Shadow Strike to destroy a minion and keep your Eviscerates to go face, potentially, if you are some spell heavy rogue.
Absolutely, yeah. And this will be huge in Arena, this card for sure.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to kill everything up to, I think 5 mana for sure. It'll kill everything up to that. 6 mana, there's plenty of cards it'll kill. Yeah, you're going to kill a lot of big stuff. So 5 damage is a nice amount.
Yep. I can dig it. Let's talk about Selfless Hero, a rare paladin minion. Costs 1 mana, has 2 attack, 1 health, and a death rattle that reads, give a random friendly minion Divine Shield. So I like this card, but again, like the last, the 1/1 that had the death rattle to give another minion +1/+1, it's very easy to play around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I found too when I was playing, so I did try to make a Divine Shield Paladin deck, and I found that this card didn't actually do that much because a lot of times all my dudes already had shields. So Sometimes it just died and did nothing, absolutely nothing. Think about the scenario where I play this, and I'm talking wild, but I play this into shielded minibot. What does this ever do? Nothing. So it's. I think it goes in there still, but it's not like your one drop card. It's something that gets slotted. You play it later on in the game. When you look at the kit that Paladin's got, it seems like, okay, Divine Shield Paladin, that's got to be the thing. But some of these cards, when actually in practical use, don't quite work out the way that you look at them and think that they will.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at all these Divine Shield cards, and I am very excited, but I think it only works in Wild.
Maybe.
That's my gut.
That may be true.
Gut reaction. I'm not saying I'm correct. Obviously, I haven't played enough of it, but that's my gut reaction. It's like, oh, yeah, Wild Divine Shield Paladin is going to be cool. But you know what's still cool in Wild? Secret Paladin.
Sure.
It works fine.
Exactly.
Still works totally fine.
Yep. But I mean, you could play this in a deck that doesn't have a bunch of stuff with already Divine Shield, like just Divine Shield givers, and this is another one of those, right? So you got this, and then you've got Cog Hammer and all that kind of stuff. So there's other ways to give Divine Shield rather than just playing minions that already have it, and this could really work there because those minions that have Divine Shield are generally weaker statted, right? They're 3/1s for 3 and stuff. But if you can give Divine Shield to a better minion, that's really strong.
Well, and it's also a death rattle, so wouldn't it go well in an Azot deck?
Sure.
Because then it comes out at the end and then dies real fast because it only has 1 health, and then gives
one of your other
Divine
death rattle
Shield,
minions Divine Shield. Yeah, absolutely.
It's cool.
Absolutely.
And speaking of Divine Shield granting Paladin cards, let's talk about Rallying Blade. A new weapon for Paladins. It costs 3 mana, has 3 attack and 2 durability, with a battle cry that reads, give +1/+1 to your minions with Divine Shield. So here's another kind of Divine Shield buffing card.
Yeah, but tough to make work, really, because it's 3 mana. You get a weaker weapon for 3 mana than you should, technically. This is a Fiery War Axe for 3. So if you can get at least 1 minion +1/+1, probably pretty okay. If you can get 3 or 4, probably kind of broken good. But that's actually going to be a tough scenario to set up.
Getting 3 or 4 is going to be a really hard scenario to set up.
It's going to be like a turn 10 combo, So it's fine. It's balanced, I think, and I think it's really good in a specific type of deck. So
yeah, I think it's okay, and not the worst thing to see in Arena. Weapons are good in Arena. It's removal, even if this case it's overcosted removal. And if you find any Divine Shield minions along the way, why not?
Absolutely. But this card is like nothing special, game breaking. I really did try out the Divine Shield Paladin. I just don't think it's quite strong enough yet. I think someone's going to come up with a version that's really good that balances the amount of Divine. Because right now I think what's happening is the lists I saw, it's just dump all the Divine Shield stuff into the one deck, and doesn't quite get you there. A lot of times, yes, it's annoying to deal with, but you can deal with it. I think you need to find the balance between the two, and someone will find that balance, and it'll be really good. It'll be a really good deck.
Yeah. Let's talk about one of my favorite pieces of art in the whole damn game, Psychotron, the corrupted Annoyotron. It's a common neutral mech minion, costs 5 mana, has 3 attack, 4 health, taunt, and Divine Shield. So a lot of things going on for Mr. Psychotron here. It's fine though. You're getting a good assortment of everything for your mana. But I wouldn't say it's the most exciting card in the world.
No, but I think it's fine. I think it's good. It gets slotted into decks that need some sort of taunt at some point. It's in a lot of ways similar. You could say similar to a Sludge Belcher in some ways, where it takes 2 attacks to get through it because of the Divine Shield, and it's gonna deal 3 damage both of those times. So, in that sense, totally fine for 5 mana, I think. And I have 2 golden ones, so I'm going to put them in somewhere. I don't know.
Dills, you sound like you're building decks like I do.
Yeah, I got golden ones. I want to make this deck. But, I think this card is fine. And I definitely think you'll see a lot of it in Arena for sure. It's a common neutral, so it'll get picked.
Yep. And it's a mech, so if you find any mech synergy cards, you get a little bonus.
Yeah, totally.
Are there even any mechs left in Standard?
I mean, not in Standard.
Not in Standard,
but
but
Wild. So
Dills had just mentioned Arena, so that's what I was talking about. It's like, hey, you get that mech warper? Yeah, grab Psychotron. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, this card, this card's just, it's fine. It is where it's supposed to be, I think.
I like the idea, like from a lore aspect, of something, a large set falling off like GVG. So it's like we're in this world of Warcraft, and all of the mechs have died and they're gone. They've been destroyed. What's that in the distance? Oh God, it's a corrupted Anoyotron. And this thing
And it
just
looks
comes.
like they've made mech tentacles.
Yep. That are also speakers.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out exactly what the idea here is, because somehow Anoyotron turned into a bass player.
Well, or
Why not?
Well,
he started on the horn.
specifically the bass player from President of the United States of America who had the 2-string bass. I don't really understand why he turned into a bass player, but hey, whatever, man.
what? But why not?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, because I don't know, but I don't know what to tell you. I like it. There's a little Mad Max in here. It's great. I dig it.
Yeah, well, actually, I think on the golden one, it would be cool if he was shooting fire out of that, but he's not.
He's
but
not.
there are like some cool little animations going on. So.
Yeah, his hair is like blowing in the wind, and it's cool. I like it. Let's talk about another like very pretty art-wise card, Primal Fusion, a new common shaman spell that costs 1 mana and gives a minion +1/+1 for each of your totems. So pretty conditional buffing card here.
Yeah.
It's okay. I could see scenarios where I'm picking this in arena, going up against other
Possibly.
commons, because it's like, well, I've got my hero power, and we're in the slower format of arena. But all in all, I'm not super excited about this. I see a lot of folks who are really like, yeah, Primal Fusion on my totem deck, but I'm not on the bandwagon at the moment.
No. Yeah, it's going to be tough to make because you're going to have to make at least 2 totems out there for this to, I think, be worth it at all. And in the world where people clear your board, even your totems, I don't know. Once you realize someone's playing a totem shaman, you just clear their totems, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
and then this will never get used. So, but I think you're right. In arena, there's because if you can get +2/+2 on something, that's generally okay. And do it for 1 mana. That's pretty good. If I can get +3/+3, that's kind of broken. So, I feel like there's something there in arena for this card.
Yeah. Power Word Tentacles is next. It's a priest common spell, costs 5 mana, and reads give a minion +2/+6.
The art on this card is ridiculous.
I realize
I feel like I shouldn't be looking at this card.
it's one of, honestly, I keep saying this, but this is one of the whole set. I think one of my favorite pieces of art. I think it's just super cool.
Yeah, it is. But this card itself,
No,
I feel like this card should have cost 4, not 5.
yeah, this is a tough sell.
Yeah.
I feel like the 3 of us typically on the show don't like cards that simply just buff. And if it does simply just buff, it needs to be Blessing of Kings, so you have the potential of killing your opponent when you use it. This is not
also,
giving
Blessing
you
of Kings goes in a class that generates 1/1s.
that. Exactly.
So, yeah. A priest, you're not really generating stuff, and it's a weird card, man. So for 2 more mana, I lose spell power and I gain +2 over Velen's Chosen. Is that what you're telling me?
That's exactly what Power Word Tentacles is telling you.
I know. I mean, I guess this is the reining in of power, right? Because Velen's Chosen was really, really good. But yeah, I don't know, man.
All right, just real quick, everyone, Jocelyn, you think this card is bad?
It's terrible.
Dills, you think this card is bad?
It's bad.
I think it's bad. Let's talk about On the Hunt, a new common hunter spell that costs 1 mana and reads deal 1 damage, summon a 1/1 Mastiff, and that Mastiff is indeed a beast.
I love this card. I just don't know if I can slot it into my hunter decks anymore.
Yeah.
If you gave me a world that still had 0 cost Hunter's Mark, then maybe.
Yeah.
Now
Ooh.
I'm playing 2 cards to get rid of something.
And then spawn
And I get
a
a 1/1.
spawn a beast, and then trigger your kill command. And it's just wonderful. But yeah, you're right. It's not a bad card. It's just exists in a world with a lot of really stellar options for hunters right now.
Yeah.
So I don't. You're right. I'm with you. I don't think there's necessarily.
Yeah,
room for it.
when I'm building a 30-card hunter deck, I'm not putting this card into it. So
Yeah. It's kind of too bad. I feel like it could maybe go well with lock and load. Like, you lock
hell
and load, and then you hunter's mark, and then you on the hunt, so you take something else out, and you're getting more hunter cards. Like, I feel like maybe there's a deck where this fits, and I'd really like to figure it out.
Well, okay, I will pick this in Arena, though, I think, because ping effects are actually really powerful. Actually, somebody in the chat just said Elven Archer. So yeah, it's Elven Archer with a beast at the end.
But it has
essentially.
beast, yeah. It has
and it's
beast and
cast as a spell
synergy.
being cast, so it actually deals extra damage with spell power. So
Yeah.
I think technically, like, just better than Elven Archer. And
Unless
like you said,
counter
Lock and Load
spells
Hunter
up.
is definitely playing this card, I think, because you just want as many cheap spells as you can. So yeah, okay, there's a
Yogg,
place for it.
It could be a Yogg card too, where
Yep.
you're just
Counts
trying
as-
to cast spells.
Just counts as a spell cast.
Yep.
Yeah, it's another way to make your Gazrilla real big.
That's true too. Does the hound, or I guess the mastiff that comes out, is it charging or is it just a 1/1?
No, I don't
It's just
think so. I
a-
think it's just a 1/1.
It's just a 1/1.
Yep.
So
But yeah, all right.
cool.
There's a place for this card somewhere,
Yeah.
but it's not standard right now for sure.
No. Let's talk about Nerubian Prophet, a new common neutral minion. Will cost 6 mana, has 4 attack, 4 health, and at the start of your turn, you get to reduce this card's cost by 1.
I mean, we talked about if a card like this. There are some other options out there for cards like this. If you had this in your opening hand, by turn 3 it would cost 3, right? So
Yeah.
you play a 4/4 on turn 3 with no penalty.
Yeah, but if you don't draw it on turn 1,
Yeah, yeah.
oof.
I mean, this card I think has potential. I just don't think it's not doing enough. I think to replace other cards that you would probably play instead, right? It's not actually doing anything to the board. It's just a 4/4 that you're hoping to play for cheaper than it's supposed to cost. But you have to hold it in your hand for a little while. So
Yep.
it's a card like you top deck this card and you're like, damn it! All right, I have to wait for this card to be good. Yeah, it's gonna be tough to find a place for this.
I agree. Joss?
Yep.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
on board.
Let's talk about Nat the Darkfisher, the corrupted version of Nat Pagle. This art is terrifying and kind of awesome at the same time. So legendary neutral minion, just like Nat Pagle was. Costs 2 mana to cast. Has 2 attacks. So Nat's been working out, man. He's been pumping, I don't know, grouper? What do fishermen lift to get swole?
Big fish.
Giant swordfish.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I don't know.
There you go. Goliath grouper. So 2 attack, 4 health, and at the start of your opponent's turn, they have a 50% chance to draw an extra card. So
And I think, did all 3 of us open this guy, or just me
I
and...
didn't get one. No.
no,
Oh, okay,
just
so
you
just
and
me and
I,
Garrett.
Joss.
Yeah.
Just you and I.
If I had opened more legendaries, maybe. I got 3.
Garrett Luck is dead.
And I actually, even in the extra packs, I didn't get any more. So 130 something packs, I got 3.
Oh,
3 legendaries. Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty bad.
feels bad.
At all.
What do you think of Nat there, Joss?
I think it has a place potentially in a mill deck,
That's
but that's it. Yeah. Any
That's it.
other time you don't want to be giving your opponent cards, even for a 2/4. I don't think.
No.
Yeah. I think it's just bad.
Yeah, this card could
Except
be.
in a mill deck.
I feel like this card should be maybe even reversed, where it's like a 4/2 for 2, and then you play it, and your opponent kind of has to decide: am I going to leave this around and take 4 damage a turn for the 50% chance option to draw a card? And then it's like it's like, okay, here's a card that's actually threatening to your health total, and but has this drawback of giving you cards. And then in a mill deck, you would play it and maybe you give them a card, but then it'd be kind of easier to kill. I don't know. I think the design would be a little bit better if it was something like that. Here, it's harder to kill 2-drop, so it's a more powerful 2-drop with this kind of drawback, but that's actually maybe a bonus in a mill deck. But it's not threatening at all there, and it's 50% chance. I don't know. Like this card,
Yeah.
even in a mill deck, I'm like, I don't know if I play this there. There's other stuff I can do that I think might be more powerful.
I agree. Let's talk about Midnight Drake then. A new rare dragon, which is a neutral minion, will cost you 4 mana, has 1 attack, 4 health, and a battle cry that reads gain +1 attack for each other card in your hand. So Twilight Drake's long lost cousin who hits harder.
Yeah, but
Potentially.
always only has 4 health. Always.
Yeah. On the 4 mana count, that's
Yeah.
not that's
I mean,
relatively easy
if
to
you
deal
most of the time have 5 cards in your hand when you play it, so 6 total cards in your hand when you play this, then you get, you know, a 6/4 for 4. But even then, that's not that good. And we've even seen, we had a 6/4 card that could cost 4 if things had died that turn, and that never saw play. I don't see this card ever seeing play.
No, well, yeah, the reason that Twilight Drake is so good is because it has decent attack for its mana cost, like 4 for 4, but then it's so ridiculously sticky because you can get that thing up to 7, 8, 9 health on turn 4. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, this doesn't have the sticky factor that I think it needs.
I think this should have been a 1/5 with the same effect, and it would have been totally
yeah,
fine.
even that 1 more health would have helped. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think Dragon decks are going to be using this bad boy. I think Dragon decks, they got their new Deathwing, but the rest of the dragons have not been incredibly powerful so far, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unfortunate. I think dragons should be really powerful, you know?
Yeah, especially with a new dragon legendary that deploys your dragons. Mm-hmm. That'd be pretty cool.
Although maybe when they realized what Deathwing could do, they were like, we can't put all these insane dragons in there. Although that deploying this would just be putting a 1/4 on the board, right?
It'd be really bad.
Yeah, it's not that good at all.
No, it isn't.
Not that good at all.
Well, let's move on and talk about the new warrior legendary minion, Malkarok. Yeah, raid bosses in my Hearthstone. Malkarok costs 7 mana, has 6 attack, 5 health, and a battle cry that reads, equip a random weapon.
Yeah, dude. This card is just super good.
Bring it, man. Blingtron with no drawback.
Yeah, you don't give anything to the other guy. You play a slightly weaker minion, but and it's a control warrior. It's like, we lost Deathbite in control warriors and stuff, so now we just put Malkarok in there, and we get we get other whatever weapons from other, like True Silvers and stuff. You can get whatever. So the only time it's really bad is if you get the Cursed Blade, right? Outside of that, everything else is pretty okay. So yeah, this card has been good every time I played it.
Did you actually craft this one, or did you open this one?
I did craft this one, yes, because
so worthy of the craft.
Yeah, no, I think out of all the class legendaries, this might be one of the better ones.
I mean, Dills. I think the answer is always yes when we ask, "Did you craft this one or did you open it?"
Well, yeah, for me, it's basically going to be that right now. But yeah, I haven't had this card be bad yet. Every time I played it, and yes, I haven't gotten a Cursed Blade yet, but even then, I think it's not going to be so terrible, and that's not going to happen that often. So, I think this card is just amazing. And sometimes you're going to get, Gorehowl, and you're just going to be like laughing at them. I just played a 6/5 and a 7 mana weapon.
And I am seeing Gorehowl all over the place again. It feels kind of nice.
Back.
It's fun and standard. It's like, oh, warrior. Oh, I don't need to worry about Deathbite. Oh, a druid. Oh, I don't need to worry about combo. Now it's just, Cthulhu, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die any moment now. Oh, turn 10. Here it comes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God they don't have it.
This card, if you're playing Cthulhu Warrior or just the Control Warrior, dude, Malkarok all day, every day. Put it in your deck. Penalty.
So is there more of a chance that you get a warrior weapon than anything, or is it just 100% random?
No, it's a random standard weapon. So,
okay, so
you can't get Deathbite if you're playing in standard.
Right.
You can't get Cog Hammer. There's a few weapons you won't be able to get, but
if you're playing a wild, all bets are off.
All bets are off in wild. You'll get whatever, but generally weapons are good, and especially they're good when they come for free attached to a body. So. And your opponent doesn't get one.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Sorry, Blingtron. Sorry.
Yeah.
But we want presents.
I mean, I love the Blingtron card, but I love Malkarok even more. He's amazing.
Let's talk about Journey Below, a new rare rogue spell that costs 1 mana and reads Discover a Death Rattle card.
So you play this in your Raptor Rogue deck.
Yep. Also,
your
you're
Raptor
a rogue.
Nizoth deck.
Yep. I was just going to say Nizoth.
Also, you're a rogue, so this is a good card because combo enabler.
It enables combos. It counts as a spell, so you could play this with like Auctioneers and stuff, if you wanted to. I don't think you would do that.
Nizoth and Yogg deck.
And Nizoth Yogg deck?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Double old god.
Dream! But you can also discover the 5/4 that gives you a coin death rattle, So like there's some really good rogue specific death rattle cards now that you can discover with this. You can discover a Nubarak, you can because you'll see rogue cards more often, right? So
How much are we going to lose our minds when the inevitable trolled-in video happens that will be from Wild, and someone's going to Yogg, and they're going to get multiple unstable portals and get the rest of the old gods?
Well, we've already seen, I think even Azixa had this happen too. We've already seen, whatchamacallit, where they gang up your Yogg and put more Yoggs in your deck, and then you draw more Yoggs.
That happened
This kind of
in
stuff has already happened.
two
already,
of the
so.
3 Yogg-Sarons I saw played against me today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Gang up. So,
Wow.
Fun. Yeah, I think Journey Below is a good card.
Yeah, I think so too. Not for every rogue, but for specific rogue decks.
Yep. Fine in Arena. Totally fine in Arena. Let's talk about a really damn good card for Hunters. A new rare beast minion called Infested Wolf, which costs 4 mana, has 3 attack, 3 health, and a death rattle that reads summon 2 1/1 spiders, and the spiders are indeed beasts. It's a new token with new art that we haven't seen before.
Yep. I love this because here's a really, really good Hunter card that is pushing them more towards a mid-rangey, control-y type of play. So this isn't really like an aggro card, although you could use it as an aggro tool, but you're playing a 3/3 for 4 when you play it,
Yep.
so it's not that great. But when you get the 2 spiders and all of its beasts, you're really setting yourself up for cool stuff with Death Rattle, Infesty, Beast. You can play Houndmasters on any of the spiders that come out. You can do all that kind of stuff. This card sets up a lot of cool stuff, and it doesn't just smash your face in, so Hunters aren't just the smash your face in class, and I like it.
Jocelyn, you jumped on Hunter faster than anyone else yesterday. Assuming there's 2 of these chilling in your Hunter deck?
Absolutely. I think this is a great card. It's very much a mid-rangey Shredder replacement, and basically you know exactly what you're going to get. You get 2/1/1, so it's spread over 2 bodies. Like this is great. You get your 2/2 worth of stats, which is, kind of the best average you could get out of Shredder. You know that you're not going to get any crazy like Doomsayer shenanigans or anything. So it's this card is so good, and it combos so well with everything else in Hunter. Like, I mean, you combo it with the new legendary. Did we talk about her already? I can't.
Yeah, we talked about her on a previous show.
Yeah.
I think it was the last episode.
The last episode, I think. Yeah, you're right.
We did the Nerf episode without you, Joss, but the last episode where all 3 of us were on, we talked about Princess Sahurin.
Yeah, so you can, trigger this guy's Death Rattle, then you've got 1/1 spiders, you've still got more 1/1 spiders. Like, there's so many things that you can do in Hunter now that makes this actually a really flexible card.
Yeah, very good card. If you don't have it and you're playing Hunter, probably a safe craft.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
If you want to play Hunter, this is like the first card you make.
Yeah. Let's talk about Hooded Acolyte, a new common priest minion. Costs 4 mana, has 3 attack, 6 health, and reads whenever a character is healed, give your Cthulhu +1/+1 wherever it is.
Okay.
Good priest card if you're playing Cthulhu.
Goes in the Priest Cthulhu deck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Really solid card for Cthulhu priests.
The 3/6 for 4. Yeah. And the fact is, a character being healed means that you can heal face, you can heal whatever. If it was a minion being healed, this card would be significantly worse. But
you can heal your opponent or your opponent's minions if you really want to.
really wanted to, yeah.
That actually happened to me yesterday. Someone had this acolyte out. Like, I couldn't kill it, and he was even to the point of just like healing my face, and it was just his Cthulhu was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. He never got to play it. I killed him with my Cthulhu first, but I was just like, man, oh man.
Yeah. It was so like Circle of Healing becomes so damn good too when you can get a few minions on board. And this is a common situation for priests. I get a few minions on board. I could get a cleric down and this down.
Holy
Nova.
Nova.
A bunch of guys damaged, and then heal them all, buffing my Cthulhu and drawing a bunch of cards, drawing into my Cthulhu. I don't see a reason not to play this.
Yeah.
At all.
It's really good. Let's talk about Grotesque Dragonhawk. I don't think it's that grotesque. It's kind of pretty.
It is, actually.
I think that's mean. But it's a new common neutral beast minion. It costs 7 mana, has 5 attack, 5 health, and has Wind Fury.
It's a bad card.
It is a bad card, although...
Even as a beast, it's a bad card.
I did see someone get it on Master of Evolutioning a 6-drop, and then it's pretty dope.
That would make it, yeah. If you get it like that, that's really good. But I compare this to like Wind Fury Harpy, which is a 6 mana 4/5 with Wind Fury that just saw no play ever, and it was just avoided like the plague in Arena. It's just paying too much for a weak body, and that's really what makes it a bad card. The Wind Fury, obviously, if you can't kill it, can be amazing, But the fact of the matter is that most of the time people will kill it, and you paid 7 mana for it.
Exactly.
So,
That late in the game, 5 health does not stick.
no. So yeah, it's just bad. But I when I played my Infest Hunter the other day, I did get one of these, and it got to the point where I'd played out all these beasts already, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll play this one too. You get to late game or something, and you get it for free. It's fine, but don't put it in your deck.
We haven't seen Stealth Coldblood work on the Harpy version of this, so I don't see why it would work on this either.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly.
anyways, well, let's just move right on then and talk about the Forbidden Ritual. It's another Forbidden card. This time it is an epic spell for Warlocks, and just like every other Forbidden card, it costs 0 mana, with the caveat of spend all your mana. And then this particular Forbidden spell summons that many 1/1 tentacles for how much mana you spent.
Mm-hmm.
So you spend 4 mana, you get 4 1/1 tentacles. You spend 6, you get 6, so on and so forth.
I think this is the best Forbidden card.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just making a bunch of 1/1s for exactly the amount of mana that you spend, and then you just fit it in whenever you want.
Yep. You have that awkward turn where you can't use your mana correctly. Hey, Forbidden Ritual.
Yeah, I think this one's pretty good. It's and especially if you're playing like a Reno Warlock or something like that, you just want cards that you can kind of just spend all your mana doing. I think this one's really good.
Also, without Loatheb and Standard, these cards are a lot less, potentially awful.
How would that work though with Loatheb? Because let's say you play Loatheb, and then this card costs 5 more. Wouldn't you just summon that many 1/1 tentacles plus
That's a good
5?
point. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need some science.
Science. We need some.
Yeah,
we need that.
Because I know that when there was the Tavern Brawl where when you cast spells, you got minions that cost the amount of mana that the spell cost. And when someone played Loatheb, it actually made you get stronger minions when you cast the spell. So if you cast a Frostbolt for 7, you actually got a 7-drop with your Frostbolt.
Okay, so that would make me believe that Loatheb wouldn't actually make this card worse, that you would just still get the correct amount of minions for however much mana.
I think it just counts as however much mana you cast.
Yeah,
but
it just kind of forces you into spending that much mana versus having the option. So
Yeah,
But
so
I
you
put
have
this
to
directly-
have 5 mana available.
Yeah. I put this directly into my Reno Warlocky Explorer deck or whatever, and it's been fine because it just fills out turns. The problem with the other ones is that you're getting a weaker turn for the mana cost, but you're paying for that because you get the flexibility, right?
Yep.
So Forbidden Flame, I did put into my Tempo Yogg-Saron deck, and it actually was fine.
Oh,
and I actually did Forbidden Flame
Chat room is,
in Arena.
Chat room
And it
saying
was pretty good.
Chat room saying this was brought up on the stream, that if you were, say, Loatheb and then you played a Forbidden card, that you only get what you overpaid, not what the Loatheb forces you to pay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so like if you spent 8, you'd only get 3?
See, that to me that's not what the card says. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Like, to me, the card doesn't say that, so that I don't think it should work that way, but all right.
hey, not the first time they were inconsistent with writing cards.
Definitely not the first time, but yeah.
So, let's talk about Forbidden Ancient. New epic minion for Druids. Has 1 attack, 1 health, and costs 1 mana. And a battle cry that reads spend all your mana. Guess what, guys? You gain +1/+1 for each mana spent.
All right.
Yeah.
Again, it's kind of a weaker version of what you're going to get for a vanilla body, but you can play it any turn, right? So
Yeah.
Someone's saying that Forbidden Ritual is rare. I mean, it's just listed as epic on Hearthhead, so that's what we're going by right now.
Oh.
It may be rare, I don't know, but here it's listed as epic.
Not the most important distinction in the world.
Yep. Moving on.
So yeah, for Forbidden Ancient, it's fine for what you're paying for.
I like it in a deck with Bran because then it's a battle cry, right? So it's a little bit different than some of the other Forbidden cards. So because it's actually a minion with a battle cry, you're going to be able to double the effect of the Ancient. So I kind of like it.
Yeah. Oh, and chat rooms bring up a good point too, that if like how you thought it was working, Dills, where if there was a mana cost assigned with a Forbidden card, then Forbidden Ancient would actually give you one more
No,
attack.
because Forbidden Ancient's not a spell, so it won't be affected by Loatheb.
Well, right, but in theory, the same thing Never. It doesn't matter. We have a lot of cards
Well,
to talk
no,
about.
because Loatheb only affects spells. This isn't a spell.
Right, but I'm not talking about Loatheb. I'm just talking about the fact that this has 1 instead of 0. So if you're spending all your mana and you're counting in the 1 that, like by
Yeah,
that
but it starts
logic,
as a 1/1, right? So if you pay 1 and then you spend whatever else mana you have, and then you gain +1/+1 for that, right? It already costs 1, and then it spends all the rest of your mana. So you pay 1 for this, and then 6 more mana, right?
Right, and that's but chat room saying that's consistent then with a forbidden spell being affected by Loatheb, because now the card has a cost associated with it, and that cost is not factored into what you get out of the card.
Sure.
So anyway,
So
that's
they
just
said that this won't work with Bran, because that makes no friggin' sense to me. Like
Wait, what?
I'm just that's what someone just said in chat. Brodan said this won't work with Bran. Why wouldn't it work with Bran? Like again, it's like these forbidden cards. Like
so
why are they not working?
It's very
Inconsistent.
specifically a battle cry.
wow.
Yeah, I don't understand what the hell. Why
then,
would you make your cards?
This card
work
is crap,
consistently?
and I'm sad.
Yeah, why would you make your cards not work consistently? I don't understand that.
Yeah, that drives me
To
nuts.
me, that's a mistake. That's a mistake.
Agreed. There's nothing Ben Bro can tell me with drywall behind him that will convince me otherwise. Let's talk about Flame Wreathed Faceless, a new common minion for Shaman, and have fun in Arena against Shaman, everyone. The Flame Wreathed Faceless will cost you 4 mana, has 7 attack, 7 health, and an overload of 2. Yes, please sign me up. Really good card.
Yeah, this card's sick. Oh, I get it now because okay, chat's clarifying. They probably explained this on the stream and I missed it. You spend the battle cry is to spend all your mana, then gain +1 for each mana spent. So then it does the battle cry again, but you have no mana.
Oh, well, I guess that does make sense.
Yeah.
Also, still makes the card crappy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
But that's the thing. It's like there's a reason why we don't play 7 mana 7/7s, right? Because they're not good.
It's also,
If we're gonna,
yeah, while we're in the subject of getting off topic, I'm still bothered by the fact that Rockbiter Weapon doesn't gain anything from spell power. Always, like, from day one, I was like, why doesn't this get buffed by spell power? But, like, everything else does. And I still, to this day, I'm like,
Well, no, because spells that it's spell damage. I agree with it because you don't get extra damage from spell power when you do things like Blessing of Might.
yeah, that's a good point. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. It's consistent, at least.
Yeah, that's
why-
consistent.
But why not? Just give it to all of them.
Spell damage would be so much better, by the way. If
Yeah.
It affected every spell no matter what.
It
no matter
would.
how it's there. Yeah.
It would, unless it was a spell that just had no, like, didn't have a number that you could easily calculate like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, so Flame Wreath Faceless, back to that Shaman minion, 7/7 for 4 with an overload of 2. Just a really strong minion.
Yeah. When you play this on turn 4, it's really difficult to deal with, especially now in a world where Big Game Hunter costs 5. So
Absolutely. Seeing a lot of polymorph coming back, seeing Hex all over the place because of this guy, it feels like. Also, Old Gods, so you kind of need to deal with those as well. But it's nice seeing transformation effects back in the game.
yeah, I mean this card goes in like all the Shaman decks, right?
I can't think of a reason you wouldn't want to find a slot for this.
Yeah. Like aggro Shaman can make use of this. I think I put it in there because if I can get this to get on the board and then hit your face once, it's totally worth it. And there's no weird Fell Reaver effect tied to it. You just overload 2. You paid 6 for a 7/7. What? What?
Yeah, I think the only problem with this card is it is a 4-drop. So usually, if you're playing aggro shaman, you don't want to overload on turn 4 because you want to get your Doomhammer out on turn 5. But then again, you also get a 7/7. So you could probably just wait that one turn for that Doomhammer.
I'm about to say, oh, you poor aggro shaman. You just got a 7/7 on turn 4 and you're complaining.
It's not me.
I didn't say you. I said you poor aggro shaman. I was talking about the hypothetical aggro shaman that is complaining in the scenario that you just painted for me. No. Well, let's talk about another Hunter Beast minion, Fiery Bat. I wonder if it's going to win a championship. Fiery Bat will cost 1 mana, has 2 attack, 1 health, and a death rattle that reads, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. So Leper Gnome-esque, it's a beast, it's Hunter specific. Yeah, it's going in aggro Hunter.
Absolutely.
And Death
good.
Rattle Hunter.
It's going in Death Rattle Hunter too. Yeah, not even just it's going in lots of hunters because this is if I'm trying to figure out, what my replacement in mid-range hunter is for web spinner, this seems like a good option there as well too. Because late game you can actually play this on turn 5. You can play this with a Houndmaster or something like that, just because it's a beast as well. So yeah, this card's awesome. Great card.
I'm also glad that the card that they gave in homage to Firebat is just straight up a good card.
Hell yeah! I wonder what the cheesecake card's going to be for Ostkaka.
Oh man, I hope it is bakery themed. All right, let's talk about Feral Rage, a new common druid spell. 3 mana to cast this, and reads: choose one. Give your hero +4 attack this turn, or gain 8 armor.
So buff to savagery. So bite is 4 attack and 4 health for 4, right? So just getting the 4 attack for 1 less mana. Okay.
But you're getting the flexibility, right? So
you're getting the flexibility.
Yeah, you have the option of using it to help kill something off that's giving you trouble in your early game, or getting the armor, which is kind of like a heal if you need to last to late game.
Absolutely, yeah. So and also there's a card we're about to talk about that then makes this card really, really good.
Yes, absolutely. On its own though, in a vacuum, Feral Rage, I don't think all that exciting of a card.
Not great, but it's a common, so Arena you'll pick it just as another removal card, I think.
Right.
Because Bite was sometimes picked in Arena, very rarely. It's not great removal, but it is removal. And a lot of times, and this is, you don't look at really the health you're expending as much as you look at it as a 3 mana deal 4 damage to something card. And in that situation, it's okay. I think in Arena you will find places to pick this.
If I want to bring this back to old school Angry Chicken, if we were still giving this grades, I would put this in a solid C range.
Yeah,
it's just an average card.
It's an average card that's fine. It's balanced for what it's doing.
Yep. So, but let's talk about that follow-up card that makes Feral Rage dope. Fandral Staghelm, the Druid legendary minion. Costs 4 mana, has 3 attack, 5 health, and reads: your choose one cards have both effects combined.
Yeah. So this card is really, really good. Unfortunately, the deck that you build around this card may not be that great. And I know that there's going to be a version of this deck that will find the kind of sweet spot between playing enough of these choose one cards and just not playing all of them just to do it. And I think that's when this card is really going to shine, is when we find that kind of balance between the two, right? You can't just put all your eggs into this choose one basket. You need to mix in some just quality cards as well. And I tried to make this deck because this was one of the legendaries I pulled. And the first version of it was awful. Compared to what everyone else was playing, I was just getting my butt handed to me over and over and over again. Because I was playing these choose one cards and then hoping that at one point I'll get to do... It's like Bran, where you probably only get this effect one time in a game. And it'll be really good when it happens. But it's not going to happen all the time, So, yeah, good card. Maybe bad deck that goes with it,
Yeah,
so,
I think it's going to take some pruning. Like, it's going to take a lot of, I think, trial and error to figure out what cards you need to include. And also down the road, as more choose one cards are added, it has the potential of being an exceptionally strong deck, maybe after the next adventure.
Yeah. I really do think that there's a deck that makes this work really well, and like right now, finding that deck is the key. But I still hold to this being a really good card that makes a deck go, whatever that deck actually ends up looking like. It might be more of like a ramp deck where, you're not playing anything else but these just like big minions, and then you just hope that you get this with, you get to play like this with like ancient allures or wars and Druids of the Claw and those kind of stuff, because you're hiding it behind taunts. Mm-hmm. That might be the deck. I don't know. I got to do some more theory crafting and testing with this.
The ramp also makes sense because you want to play this plus other things.
Exactly. So you don't want to just pop this down on turn 4 and then hope that on turn 5 you get to make a sweet Druid of the Claw.
I'm just going to drop my Fandral Staghelm. Please don't kill him.
Yeah, exactly. With Bran, though, there's a lot of times when you play Bran and you just pop it down on turn 3 and just say, here, deal with this. Like, kill it or I will get you. This card, I don't know if I'd feel so good about doing that. Just because it's, I don't know, 3/5 for 4 gets eaten by a lot of things.
Do we know how this actually combos with Cenarius? Because he summons dudes and then buffs your minions. So does the buff happen first, or the minion
I'm gonna
summoning.
guess the minions happen first.
Because that would be really powerful. But if he's
Yeah.
like buffing an empty board and then summoning his 2/2s, then
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the minions first, but I don't know. I'd have to do some more stuff. Chat will, I'm sure, know. Chat will.
chat knows everything.
Yeah, chat knows
And
everything.
also, Shandra in the chat room is reminding me of a really good point on this. They did say on the stream, and you can freaking see now, that Druids of the Claw, Saber, and Flame have new art
Yep.
for their versions that when Fangirl is out. So they have
Cool.
unique art for their versions that have both effects applied to them, which I think
Yeah.
is so cool. And they didn't need to do that, and that's such a nice touch.
So you get a 4/6 taunt with charge when you play Druid of the Claw, and it looks different than either of those forms.
Okay, and
Like
chat room's
Druid's
saying,
Flame.
it's first choice first, second choice second.
Okay, so it always goes in that
so
order.
Summon
Okay.
dudes, then buff. Cool.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's talk about something that's really average. Faceless Behemoth. It's a neutral common minion, and it's a 10/10 for 10.
All right,
Yep.
no one's gonna play this.
Nope. Hyper average card.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in Arena there might be a situation where it's up against other cards, but I don't want to spend 10 mana on something ever in Arena, especially not a card that just goes on the board and then maybe dies. I don't know.
Yep. Maybe dies.
Probably dies, actually. I could say.
Yeah. It's really just meh. Well, let's move straight into Evolved Kobold. Awesome art on this one. New common neutral minion costs 4 mana, 2 attack, 2 health, spell damage +2. Bit of a stinker, sadly. As much as I
Yeah.
like the card art for this is not a good card.
I wish it was 3.
Spell damage +2 can be really, really cool, but you're paying 4 mana for the 2/2 body, so you better do something with it right away. That's
Yeah.
really, really effective.
So this locks you out of any early game usage of it. So
Mhm. Which is where it would be the most effective, right?
exactly.
If you could play this and then an arcane missiles and you shoot 5 missiles,
Yeah, or get a 3 damage Earth Shock. Like, that's amazing. But doing that past turn 4, not even on turn 4, unless you have coin, like, that's just
Yeah.
no.
And this is why a card like Flame Waker is so good, is that it's 3 mana cost, and the flexibility that it gives by shooting the kind of missiles randomly. So you kind of mix it in with spells that go directly to here, and then I get the extra 2 damage somewhere else. That card will always win over this card every single time. This card is just objectively worse.
Well, let's talk about an awesome card then. Evolve! We get to finally talk about it. It's a new rare shaman spell. Costs 1 mana and reads, transform your minions into random minions that cost 1 more. And hidden text, make Garrett smile.
So I had a shaman play this yesterday that evolved one of his totems into a doomsayer, and he had a full board, and he just conceded.
You have to consider that.
It made me real happy.
It's good to evolve with an Earth Shock in your hand. It's like, just in case that pesky Doomsayer comes out, I can silence it. But you can also, avoid that by not evolving when what is Doomsayer?
When you have 1-drops on the board.
One drops,
yeah. Which is
But that's
actually
tough, though,
which is
because-
hard because of totems. But
Your totems turn into 1-drops when you play them, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. They
So
cost
that's what
2
it
to
was,
make,
yeah, it
but
was
then
one
they
of the-
technically count as 1-drops.
yeah, they are 1-drops. So
So that's going to happen sometimes,
It is.
but
It is.
more often than not, it's not going to happen. It's going to be really good if
Yeah.
you can do it to a bunch of minions.
exactly, the odds are in your favor. So just like getting a Doomsayer off of a piloted shredder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were talking about this. You just play 1 of this card, right? 2 of this card is just overkill. It's going to make, if you have 2 of them in your hand, it's going to really suck.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
So this is a 1 of, and then every now and then you're going to get a really big turn. Other caveat to this card: make sure you attack with your dudes before you evolve them.
Yes, yes. Once you evolve them, they've got those sleepy green Z's above their head. It's as if you just played them. So
Yeah.
because it's hilarious. The very first time I was playing with this card, I was like, should I attack first or should I evolve and see if I get more attack? And then I was like, well, I'll just do the safe thing and just attack first because not every minion that costs more necessarily has more attack. And then I evolved and I'm like, oh, I'm really glad I did that. So unlike the only case where that's not true is if you get a charge minion,
Yeah.
which there are a lot less of now. So
Yeah, but you should still, always don't evolve and then click end turn immediately. Wait and see what happens. Maybe
Yeah.
you'll get to charge with something.
Yep. Evolve, super cool card, super good card, but probably just a 1 of. Let's talk about Eternal Sentinel, another really good shaman card. This is an epic shaman minion, costs 2 mana, has 3 attack, 2 health, and a battle cry that reads, unlock your overloaded mana crystals. Yep. Really freaking amazing card.
Yeah. Now, my question, are you playing this and the spell in your mid-range shaman, or,
No.
or did you just basically just throw this one
Just
in?
Eternal
Okay.
Sentinel.
I
Yeah.
think you just do this.
Yeah. Because this card has the flexibility as well to just be something you can just drop on turn 2. I mean, it's a 3/2 for 2, no matter what.
Yep.
It's nothing more powerful than clearing a board and then dropping this and then having all that mana back. There's just so many good uses for that card.
Shaman
Shaman
is,
right now.
is it hurts my brain to play right now because of all the
Yeah.
weird things you can do because of this card, because of Thing from Below that gets cheaper every time you use your hero power. So you have to think about like hero powering before you cast it. But also you could play this to unlock unlock mana crystals, and Shaman's cool, man. Shaman's real cool right now.
Yeah, definitely a lot to think about, a lot to manage, and then of course RNG factors are still there. But yeah, no, so many really, really great tools now. I'm hoping that this mid-range shaman becomes the more popular version, because right now at the higher levels, like all I'm seeing is the aggro shaman. It's really frustrating because I was like excited when I saw all these cards that we would get new shamans that were actually good.
Well, come
Tough
on
to play
down,
against, you know?
come on down to rank 9, man, and roll around in the dirt with us.
If I could push a button and go back down to rank 9, I would definitely do it right now. 'Cause
Well,
it's
tell
annoying.
you-
Fun is
Yeah, I can go play my EU account with like no cards.
Hey,
I'm really excited for actually the first of the next month. That's what I'm really excited for.
I was about to say,
Starting
don't
over
worry.
again and trying to do the climb.
That button does exist. It's called May 1st, and it's located on your calendar, and you just have to wait until it gets pushed.
Just wait for it.
Yep. Let's talk about Eldritch Horror, a new common minion. It's also neutral. Costs 8 mana, has 6 attack, 10 health, and nothing else. So just an 8/10 for 8 vanilla minion.
More vanilla minions.
Yeah.
Just more options around the vanilla minions. Again, these are going to be picked in arena sometimes.
Yep.
You'll never see them in constructed ever.
No. But not a bad arena card. Not
It's fine.
super exciting, but not bad.
The thing is, they look really good. But let me just point something out. Like even in arena, when you're paying 8 mana for something, you just, I don't know. Like the captured Jormungandr, people thought like, oh, 5/9 for 7. That's going to be amazing. It just fell and fell and fell down the tier list as people really played with it and saw what it actually did. It's just you spend a lot of mana to do one thing on your turn, and then it's, then it dies or something. And I don't know. It's not that great, I don't think.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it's a wonderful pick in arena. I'm just saying there will be times where this is clearly the better pick. But
Exactly. Yep.
uh,
It's going to be a great top deck when you're in a top deck war. It'll be fantastic there. But
yeah. While we're in the subject of vanilla minions, let's not stop now. Let's talk about Duskboar, which is it is a beast. It's a common neutral beast. Costs 2 mana, has 4 attack, 1 health. No charge, so pretty bad card.
it's terrible.
terrible card. Yeah. Oh, on turn 2, I'm going to play something you just ping. Awesome.
3 of the classes instantly deal with this.
If Magma Rage is bad at 3 mana, this is bad at 2 mana.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
but we will see the Frost Boar in the next expansion, which is a 2 mana 4/2, and that'll be all over the place.
Oh, that's well. This isn't fire, so that wouldn't necessarily be ice, dude. It's going to be Dawnboar because this
Yeah,
is
there you
Duskboar.
Yeah.
So,
Dawn Boar.
let's talk about Doomcaller. Rare neutral minion, costs 8 mana, has 7 attack, 9 health, and reads, or has a battle cry that reads, give your Cthulhu +2/+2 wherever it is. But that's not all. If it's dead, shuffle it into your deck.
Hell yeah.
I actually had this work, and I actually got to play the second Cthulhu. It was so good.
It's a really cool card. I think it's a one of.
Oh yeah, I definitely a one of, because basically if you can play your Cthulhu twice, then that's enough. You don't need to play your Cthulhu 3 times.
Also,
But there were times where I was going up against another Cthulhu deck, and being the guy who got to play Cthulhu twice was the difference between me winning or losing the game. Also, if they can deal with your Cthulhu, getting your Cthulhu back is a really big deal. So this is a tech for dealing with other super slow late game control decks, to being able to actually win with those the Cthulhu's. So definitely one of.
Yeah. Also, it's an orc without scoliosis. This orc is standing up very straight. So I don't know.
It's funny though because I didn't know how this was going to work with Entomb, and I still don't know. So if someone in chat knows, if a priest entombs it, it's technically not dead. It's just in their deck, because when Cthulhu dies, it goes to a graveyard essentially that we don't know about, and it's still there. So it still gets buffed by other, but like it still pops out and gets buffed when you play other Cthulhu cards, even if it's dead, right? And that's kind of how this works, is that it sees that it's in this zone or whatever, puts it back into your deck. But I don't know how this works if it's been entombed.
Yeah, and if
Or hexed.
if your Cthulhu gets
Or hexed.
entombed,
Or polymorphed.
then if you play this, are you buffing that Cthulhu? Like, is it still yours, or is it just like you now have Cthulhu cards that with no Cthulhu?
It's no longer your Cthulhu. I get that, but so I did have a priest entomb my Cthulhu and then play it. I didn't get to play this, but when they played it, it was a 6/6. Cthulhu was. Like, it lost all of its buffs that it had gotten at that point.
Okay.
When they took the Cthulhu, it was a 6/6 when it got played later on.
Yeah,
I think.
Chat room is
I don't
saying
know.
that
It's all weird, man.
that it does not work if Cthulhu was transformed, so hex and polymorphs, or discarded.
It has to have died.
Has to have died without being turned into a sheep or a frog.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And also Entomb, it is.
See,
if it
this
gets
is the thing. I
entombed-
haven't seen this actually happen yet. I haven't
Yeah.
seen Entomb happen. Then I play Doomcaller.
So we should also mention, because chat room just said I lost who it was, but if you have a gold Doomcaller, you will get a gold Cthulhu.
Oh hell yeah!
So I think we know what I'm doing.
it just pulls it through like a car wash. It just turns everything gold. Is that what?
Yes.
Come here, Cthulhu. It's not a deep clean. You still have your stats, but you're
Yeah.
gold now.
Okay, so now we got some other clarification. So if they steal the Cthulhu, the aura is tied to the player, not the Cthulhu. Interesting. So that's why the Cthulhu becomes a 6/6 again. And if they then have Cthulhu buffing cards, they can restart buffing. So it would be really interesting to see if you have a Cthulhu and then you entomb a Cthulhu, and now you have two Cthulhu's in your deck. Do you then buff both Cthulhu's? Like, what's happening there?
Do you
There's so
see
much
two
going on
Cthulhu's
here,
come
man.
up in portals?
I cannot wait to see how it all actually works.
Oh, my brain hurts.
We'll just let it slide for now. We'll get back to this later.
Yeah,
We'll
Disguised
just
Toast.
science.
Disguised Toast will show us the way at some point.
Disguised Toast will make a video. It'll be sweet. Yeah.
Yep, it'll be wonderful. It's not our job. That job is taken by someone.
God.
Let's talk about, honestly, just closing thoughts. Doomcaller, supremely cool card. I love the precedent it sets that we now, they've said, yeah, here's a card that pulls something back from the dead outside of Resurrect, and pulls something specific back from the dead. And this excites me for the future of Hearthstone cards. Let's talk about Divine Strength. Common paladin spell, costs 1 mana, reads give a minion +1/+2.
Okay.
Yeah, average
It's
card.
not good. I don't think you're going to play this card. But in Arena, this card's viable, I think. But it's not good either there. It's good. You're going to want other cards over it, I think. But there will be times when you take this because it is a paladin card. So I make a dude, then I turn him into a 2/3, and I kill something else sometimes. But most of the time, I'd still rather not do this because now I've invested 3 mana into a 2/3, you know?
Yeah. Disciple of Cthulhu is next. A rare neutral minion, costs 3 mana, has 2 attack, 1 health, and a battle cry that reads deal 2 damage. Give your Cthulhu +2/+2 wherever it is. Been seeing a lot of this in Cthulhu decks in the single digit ranks. It's annoying, but the card itself is easy to kill off.
Well, yeah, but it's does 2 effects. This card is like an MVP in my Cthulhu deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It allows me to play Cthulhu buffing cards and deal with the opponent's board. This card is insane with Bran, by the way, because you deal the damage twice.
Yeah, so it's 4 damage.
Yeah, so there's I can't remember what the name of the card is, but there's a 4 mana 4/2 with Divine Shield Cthulhu card. And this outright with Bran will just kill that card, right? Because it'll kill the Divine Shield first, then it'll kill the 2 damage. So yeah, this card is sick. And plus you buff your Cthulhu by 4. This card's awesome.
Yeah.
Love this card. And it's a panda. So casting lightning stuff.
It's like
cool.
it's like Chen is cosplaying as Raiden from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, no, this I think Disciple of Cthulhu goes in pretty much every Cthulhu deck,
Really good.
Really good.
Dark Speaker is up next. It's an epic neutral minion, costs 5 mana, has 3 attack, 6 health, and a battle cry that reads swap stats with a friendly minion. Cool card.
I like this card a lot.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm in no rush to like make it work in my deck though.
Yeah, it's tough to figure out exactly where this card fits as far as a standard constructed deck. And it's an epic, so it's not really going to be seen in Arena, which is, I think, the place where it would just do so much more work. But I guess, if you're playing like a Paladin deck and you have a 1/1 that sticks, now you get a 3/6 that can attack, and then this becomes a 1/1. Like, just the fact, it's almost like giving something charge, right? Because it's already there. So if you have a deck where stuff sticks, then you can play this and then use that body right away. That's, like, the cool effect of this card.
Yeah.
However, I still think for 5 mana, there's probably better cards you can put.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's,
Do you swap existing stats or beginning stats? So, like, if something's
Existing
damaged.
Yeah,
Okay.
existing stats. Whatever it currently is. So if it's a 4/5 that is now a 4/3 because it took damage, you get a 4/3 on this creature.
Or if it's buffed above what it usually.
Or if
what
it's
it
buffed
started
above,
at.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
In which case you probably don't want it, but you probably don't want to do that if it's buffed because it can attack as the buffed creature. But
Yeah.
Yeah. There might be scenarios though where you want to do that. Maybe it has more attack than this thing has, but less health than this thing has, and it has some type of effect. So you want to favor that one and keep it alive. So you attack first, then you play Dark Speaker and swap.
There's also cards that have persistent effects that would be amazing if they had a bigger body, right?
Yes.
So
That's exactly
you
what it
can
is.
swap this with those things. Acolyte of Pain, that would be one, right?
Yep.
If you could turn an Acolyte of Pain
God, that'd be
into a 3/6.
incredible. It can actually kill things, and it has 6 health to be drawing cards off of.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, there's ways to make this effect really, really good. It's just going to take a little bit of imagination to figure it all out. But yeah, good card, I think.
Yep. Let's talk about Darkshire Librarian, a new rare warlock minion that costs 2 mana, has 3 attack, 2 health, and a battle cry that reads discard a random card, and a death rattle that reads draw a card.
All right, Tiny Knight of Evil, it's your time to shine, buddy. I mean, this card, the cool thing about this card is if you can play it with an empty hand, it's really good. But it's not a game breaker. It's not some amazing card, I think. But maybe there is now going to be a discard. I think we assumed that discard Warlock was going to happen at some point because we had the Fist of Jaraxxus and you had the Tiny Knight of Evil. But this isn't going to be... This is kind of like when Beast Druid got one more thing and then it wasn't enough. This is not enough.
That's
right?
exactly how I feel about Darkshire Librarian. It's a pretty mediocre card, and there's just not enough bonus from discarding that exists for Warlocks yet.
Yeah. Now, how about this though? When it drops from your piloted shredders in Wild,
Ooh.
baby, watch out!
Because Shredder
Just
needs
get
a
the
buff.
death rattle.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yep.
Also, is that Librarian holding a Kabbalist tome? Because then I want to know why it stole it from a mage.
It basically is. You're right. Yep.
I want to know the
this
story.
is an interesting card. It's a very interesting card. I just don't think it's right now. There's no real place for it in the decks people are messing with.
Yeah.
But there's something out there we don't know about yet, and this will go in that and make it amazing.
Let's talk about Darkshire Councilman, and I really want to know what this guy is who's talking at the podium. But
It's very hard to see.
What is it?
I can't tell what it is. It looks
hell are
like
you?
it's got a hammerhead, or I don't know what this thing is, and that bothers me. Anyway, Darkshire
It looks
Council.
more like a Star Wars character to me.
Yeah, or like something out of Hellboy.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like anything I've ever seen in Warcraft ever.
Yeah.
Anyway, Darkshire Councilman is
He has a mustache.
Is that what that is?
That's very Warcraft.
Yeah, man, I don't know. Anyway, it's a common warlock minion, costs 3 mana, has 1 attack, 5 health, and reads, after you summon a minion, gain +1 attack.
This card was used against me very well one time, but it's just so weak the turn you play it, So, but there is a cool like late game turn where you play this and then you've forbidden whatever. Damn it, too many new
right?
cards.
The
Forbidden
one that
ritual.
brings all the one ones.
And you forbidden ritual and turn this into a.
I keep calling it Forbidden Tentacles because it
7/5
summons
or
tentacles.
whatever.
It was like, Forbidden Tentacles!
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a card that could go in a zoo deck right now for sure because the 5 health you play it on turn 3. It's likely going to live, and then on turn 4, you're probably going to be able to play a couple minions. In Wild, you could play this with Implosion. If you have a good curve in, like, let's say you have a lot of 2-drops in an arena deck, you can play this on turn 3 and then double 2-drop on turn 4, and then you got a 3/5 that you played on turn 3. I mean, I think there's uses here. I think this is a card that can be definitely used. I don't know if it goes into a lot of Warlock decks, but it goes into very specific ones that flood the board, right?
Yeah.
I think it's decent.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool card. It's a build-around card in a good way.
Are people trying to say it's a Tauren?
That is
Yeah,
not a
people
Tauren.
are trying to say it's a Tauren. It's not a Tauren.
You-
It's a Tauren with its horns cut off.
You
No,
are
it's not.
all
Hell
you
no.
are all drinking the thistle tea and are incorrect. Let's move on and talk about Darkshire Alchemist, a new common priest minion. Costs 5 mana, has 4 attack, 5 health, and a battle cry that reads Restore 5 health.
Yeti body for 1 more. Battle cry that's
5, no.
decent.
I
Not
don't-
amazing.
But flexible. It doesn't say restore 5
Sure.
health to your hero, so you could
No,
heal
you can
something
do it
on
wherever you
board.
want. Yeah. You can
And
heal
the-
other minions.
It
You
goes
can-
well with that
Akanai.
the Cthulhu card.
Sure. You can Akanai and deal 5 damage to something,
Mm-hmm.
But I remember I tried to do that at one point. I tried to make like this Akanai deck that used things like Earthen Ring Farseers and tried to make them little mini, fire elementals, and it doesn't work as much as you'd think it might because it's just you have to play the Akanai
you don't
first.
have enough mana. Although with that
Yeah.
new what's the new spell that has the same effect that costs like
but that costs 2, right? So
right. But I'm
still
just
paying
saying
7
you
mana
now
to do
have
that.
you have more now. Well, all I'm saying is that you now have more ways to accomplish that other than depending on just 2 minions in your deck.
Yeah. Perfecti in the chat, though, does make a good point. It's Yeti plus Flash Heal for exactly the same amount of mana cost and only 1 card. So, I think there's a way to make this work out okay. I think this card is going to see play somewhere. Especially, people who don't have a lot of cards and are trying to... newer players, they're going to love this card. It's going to be in all the rank 20 priest decks.
Yeah, and
Because
again,
it's a decent option.
in a limited setting like Arena, not the worst card in the world.
Yeah. Popper Hearthstone, please? Anybody? Yeah? See all sorts of Darkshire Alchemists.
Oh, I was thinking like pop, like.
Oh, no,
pop.
Popper,
I was like,
Popper
but
is a
now I
format
got
where
it.
you can
Give me a
only
second.
use basic and common cards. Yeah.
I was just taking a look at how many cards we have left to talk about. We still have a lot of
We have a
cards to
lot.
talk about.
We have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
There's a few that we just go, yep, and then move right on.
All right, well, let's move on. Make sure I didn't lose my place. Cool. To Cyclopean Horror, a new epic neutral minion. Costs 4 mana, has 3 attack, 3 health, taunt, and a battle cry that reads gain +1 health for each enemy minion.
Yeah. This is pretty good. This is a good anti-aggro card. But this is only good, I think, if aggro's really prominent.
That's the
But
thing,
the one
right?
that healed you
And
for enemy minions, this is way better.
It needs to be aggro that does a lot of minions too, because Shaman very quickly stops using minions and starts using spells. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure, that's a good point. Shaman is only going to have maybe 2 or 3 minions on board at any given moment. But even then, a 4 mana 3/6 with 3 minions is decent. But you're going to want more than that because we already have a 3/6 for 5. So if you're doing this and you're hoping to get more than that, But I think this card's going to be okay in certain, depending on the meta and depending on what your deck is trying to do.
If we ever
Very
get
techy.
if we ever get tournaments with sideboards, I know we always say this, but this card will be amazing. But we
Yeah.
don't have that at the moment, so meh. Let's talk about Cult Sorcerer, a new rare mage minion. Costs 2 mana, has 3 attack, 2 health, spell damage +1, and it reads, after you cast a spell, give your Cthulhu +1/+1 wherever it is.
So this goes in your Tempo Cthulhu deck.
Hey, it's a Cthulhu card, and it's good.
Yeah. Yep.
Except that it's not a battle cry or end turn. Like you have to do something to get the Cthulhu buff. So
Yeah.
Right, but
but imagine you play this on turn 3 and then you coin a Frostbolt. You've already done
Yeah.
+2/+2, and you got spell power on your Frostbolt.
yeah.
It's not asking much of you because it's attached to a 2 mana minion, so you can drop this minion and play a spell to kill something in the same turn very easily. So I think
Yeah.
Cult
No, I
Sorcerer
know.
is fine.
I wanted to make sure that we did mention that because most of, if not all of the other Cthulhu cards,
Most of them
generally
are battle cries.
They're
Yeah.
battle cries, or end of your turn or something.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing
so-
people playing Cthulhu Mage yet. So, once I see that, but if you are, I think you put Gold Sorcerer in.
I cracked a golden
think.
one of these, and it is a supremely cool looking card. Anyways, let's talk about Crazed Worshipper, another card that is not a battle cry that buffs Cthulhu. Crazed Worshipper is an epic neutral minion, has 5 mana, or costs 5 mana, has 3 attacks, 6 health, taunt, and reads whenever this minion takes damage, give your Cthulhu +1/+1 wherever it is.
This is
This
in
is a
my
good card.
Cthulhu deck.
This is in every Cthulhu deck I have seen ever.
Yeah.
Just since yesterday.
And another
all
reason
day.
why I put Black Knight into my Cthulhu deck, because against other Cthulhu decks, when you kill this without doing any damage to it, that is amazing.
It
Yes.
feels real good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's like there's been times where I've been looking at this and I'm like, do I freaking hex this? Am I really at a point where I have to hex a 3/6?
If you have another Hex, because you probably want to Hex Cthulhu if you can.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's again, this episode brought to you by Garrett Plays Shaman, because that's been my experience, because I've been so excited and that's all I've been playing. And it's hard to do 6 damage as a Shaman in one
Sure.
go. So they almost always get +2/+2 on their Cthulhu out of Crazed Worshipper. And
that's true.
It drives me nuts. So anyway, yeah, really good card. Put it in your Cthulhu decks, everyone. And also the reason to run Black Knight. So let's talk about Corrupted Seer. A new Murloc minion, actually. This is a rare Murloc minion. It's neutral, costs 6 mana, has 2 attack, 3 health, and a battle cry that reads, deal 2 damage to all non-Murloc minions.
So this goes in Murloc decks.
Does
The only
it?
Yeah, it
Murloc
does.
decks that play all Murlocs, basically.
And the Paladin deck where you change your hero power into Murlocs.
Sure. Yeah.
Because then you're
Okay.
not even going to lose your dudes.
I'm so disappointed I didn't open a single Vilefin Inquisitor, because I want to try that in the worst way. I
I
know.
got 2 of them. It's
Yeah, I know.
We'll see. We'll
I
get
remember
there.
because you were super salty, but like, oh yeah, I can't wait to try. And I'm just sitting there like, give them to me. I want to try it in the worst way.
Yeah. I don't think this card is necessarily good, but it's going to be fine in that deck.
Yeah.
It's fine in that deck.
That's a lot of mana, though. 6 mana. Oof.
It's 6 mana
Well,
for
I
a
know,
2/3
but-
is insane, but 2 damage to every non-Murloc minion is going to allow you to make some valuable trades with whatever
It's like a
Murlocs you already have
Consecrate.
on board. So yeah, it's like you're playing a 2/3 and you're consecrate. Yeah, but you're not hitting the.
You're not
face.
hitting face, and
Yeah. But anyway, but the other thing too, though, sometimes a Murloc deck is going to want to run some other stuff that's not Murlocs. Like let's say you're doing Murloc Shaman.
What kind of Murloc deck are you playing?
Murloc Shaman, you're going to kill all your own totems. Like you're still going to be doing stuff like totem. You're going to kill your Flame Tongue totem that you were using to buff your Murlocs.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
You're Murloc decking wrong.
No.
Very situational card there, Mr. Corrupted Seer. Or not situational, goes in a very specific deck.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's talk about Carrion Grub, a new common hunter beast minion. Costs 3 mana, has 2 attack, 5 health, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. That's yeah.
It does. It synergizes really well with Houndmaster.
It does actually.
Yeah.
Sure. I think you'll see this in Arena because 2/5 on 3 is fine. It's going to be hard to kill with the other 3 drops. You'll probably get a couple attacks with it, but.
I did have this come out and get Houndmastered. It was supremely hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm. And you did see for a while, you did see people playing Oasis Snapjaws.
Mm-hmm.
So, potentially there's something there with Carrion Grub. But I don't think this is going to do anything amazing.
Yeah, time will
It's just
tell.
going to be fine. It's
Yeah.
going to be a thing that's fine.
Well, then let's talk about Bog Creeper, a new common neutral minion. Costs 7 mana, has 6 attack, 8 health, and taunt. And also an adorable illustration.
Yeah. I think I'll definitely be picking this in Arena for sure. Basically this is the Fen Creeper who got up out of the bog. I don't know.
Out of the fen.
Yeah, sure.
And it's
don't know.
being
Okay. He
ridden
went
by
into a
some
bog?
sort of
Well,
like.
that little thing riding it is in the Fen Creeper card too.
Yeah, it's a little gnome.
Really?
Yeah, because that little gnome was like on top of it in World of Warcraft. Yeah, but now it's just
Oh, I have to look it
standing
up.
up instead of being in the. But see, is it in the fen or is it in a bog? I don't understand. Whatever, man.
Oh
Who
man.
knows?
I literally had never noticed that before.
Oh, you've never seen that?
It's
Yeah.
it's the Fen Creeper. That's a really old Warcraft illustration.
That's-
It's one of my favorites. Like I love the flavor on it.
But it's from one of the old 5-mans, and you like the one where you went underwater and then swam to it. You know what I'm talking about?
I
Back in BC?
Burning Crusade. Yeah.
Sunken Temple.
Sunken Temple? No, I'm thinking of.
No,
it's
there's
a
like
five
three
man.
different. It was like
Yeah.
in the middle, underneath the like metal pipe things. The oh crap, what was it called?
And then there's actually the raid down there too.
yeah, there's like
off to
three
the right.
entrances
Yeah.
down in that space that you swim down to.
Whatever.
Yeah,
It's been so freaking long.
yeah.
Chat'll know. But it's that guy. It's one of the bosses in there.
Yeah.
And then the gnome is supposed to be fishing in that water.
Yeah, not a minion we'll likely see in constructed, but good in arena.
Absolutely. I think in arena I'm definitely going to pick this because 7 mana 6/8 is not fantastic, but the taunt is going to stop things. Underbog. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Serpent Shrine Cavern was also in there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Serpent Shrine was the one I was
Coil
thinking of.
Fang. Oh man,
Yeah.
yes. Everybody knows.
Guys, can we start playing WoW together again? I'm getting like a mad itch to play WoW with friends again.
Dude, hell yeah.
Anyways.
I got my level 20 dude from getting Lady Adrian, so, you know.
Yeah, I do too. But you know what I found out? I'm not a huge fan of playing rogues. So,
Oh, okay.
anyways, let's look at Blood to Did we decide this was Icor? I think it's Icor. Blood to Icor.
I thought we decided it was Icar.
I think you decided it was
saying
Icor.
Icor was what if you like say it in movies and whatever, that's what it's always been.
It's Icor. I believe it's a
Icor.
it's a hard I. So, Blood to Icor, a new rare warrior spell, costs 1 mana, and it reads: deal 1 damage to a minion. If it survives, summon a 2/2 slime. Not with taunt.
No, but a 2/2.
Yeah.
A 2/2 for 1 is decent, and also this activates execute. This will make patrons happen. This will
If you're trying to do an enrage warrior.
draw you cards off of your Acolyte of Pain. This will do lots of cool things for warriors. So you can then Blood Brothers, whatever it is you damaged, or Blood Warriors. I feel like there's use for this card for sure. I'm not putting it in my Cthulhu deck, but I think if
Open
you're
up a new tab
doing
on accident.
like a modern version of Patron or something, you definitely use this.
Yeah.
And the 2/2 slime will survive whirlwind effects and give you another body that you can then draw cards off of too. So I just feel like this is a decent card. This is a totally fine card.
It works great in warrior.
Yeah,
It's a warrior. It's a warrior spell that works really well for existing warrior decks.
Chat says Icar. Okay.
I said Icar, man. I don't know.
Yesterday you guys were saying Icor. Now you're saying Icar. Whatever.
I have never seen this word outside of Warcraft. I know it's a real word, but I've never seen it outside of Warcraft.
I think it's Icar because I think it's icky. So that makes sense in my head.
All right.
It looks
Works for
icky.
me.
So it's Icar.
Yes. Okay, it's Icar. Cool. Just looked it up on the dictionary, which is what I was trying to do in this tab like a moron and brought up my Google search for everyone to see. Right, let's talk about Bloodsail Cultist, who is ready to go to a rave. I don't know what's happening here, but I want that hat. Anyway, Bloodsail Cultist is a rare warrior pirate minion. Costs 3 mana, has 3 attack, 4 health, and a battle cry that reads: if you control a pirate, give your weapon +1/+1.
Okay, so it goes into Pirate Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And also, the thing is, though, I think I would pick this in Arena just as a 3-mana 3/4, but it's a rare, so it's not going to happen that often. But I think it's fine there, too. And then the upside is sometimes you'll have a Bloodsail Raider out and a weapon. Sometimes. And when that does happen, you got an upset, a little bit of a benefit. So, but outside of that, I don't know. Does this make Pirate Warrior viable? Probably not.
Yeah.
But it's another option.
I don't know. We'll go back in time and give this to Husky for the first ever Hearthstone tournament. Hopefully he'll do better.
He was trying so hard to make it work.
By the way, guys, I'm just going to do this because chat room is still on fire about how to pronounce Icar or Icor. Here's YouTube's pronunciation. Please don't play an ad. Man, they have a wind up on this.
Icor or Iker.
Icor or Iker?
So either way, it's you're saying I. So there you go. We were right the first time. You're not always right, chat.
Say ick.
This week in things that don't matter.
I just need to
Icor is
satiate.
pronounced Icor.
I need to
or
satiate
Iker.
chat. They're wrong about lethal and they're wrong about pronunciation. Congratulations, chat. So cool. Let's talk about Bloodhoof Brave while we're still on the warrior train. It's a common warrior minion. Costs 4 mana, has 2 attack, 6 health, taunt, and an enrage that gives +3 attack.
All right. The problem with this card is that its +3 attack isn't that good after it's already been attacked. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think this card is like decent, and I think in Arena it'll be fine. You'll pick it sometimes. But not a fantastic card. This is like balanced, average, balanced.
Really want Rage Warrior to be a thing. So I'm excited that this is here, and maybe after the next adventure and potentially the next expansion, maybe we'll have enough Enrage cards to make it a thing. But yeah, at the moment, I'm not supremely excited about Bloodhoof Brave.
Yeah. I mean, you have to play it and then do something to activate it, or you play it and then hope that they take multiple attacks to get through it. So it's fine. Its amount of stats is right. Its amount of Enrage is right. It's got Taunt. It's fine.
Yep.
But again, it's like that, you're not going to see this card in Constructed because it's not doing enough, right? It's not breaking something. It's not being better than its mana cost or whatever. So,
yeah. Let's talk about Blade of Cthulhu. Epic rogue minion. 9 mana, has 4 attack, 4 health, and a battle cry that reads, destroy a minion, add its attack and health to Cthulhu's, wherever it is.
So good.
Yeah, this can be insanely good.
It was insanely good on the stream, and it just like you just instantly understand how this works, right? It's like, well, 10, I'm going to play my Cthulhu, so let's remove something and severely buff Cthulhu.
Yep, and play a 4/4. So it's like you're attaching a 4/4 to an assassinate and then buffing Cthulhu.
By potentially a lot if you're
Yeah.
playing it on turn 9. Like the stuff that they're playing turn 7, 8, 9 is probably going to have a lot of attack and a lot of health. So
Yeah, let's say they play Ragnaros the Light Lord, and then you kill it, and then you get +8/+8 to your Cthulhu and play a 4/4.
No drawback. It's not even a combo. Like it just says pay 9 mana and do a bunch of awesome stuff. There you go.
But it sucks if the opponent's playing a flood deck or something with a bunch of weak minions. Then
Well,
it's
yes,
really
that's not going to help you, and unfortunately, Blade Flurry is not what it used to be.
Worst case is you killed something and played a 4/4 and paid too much for it. I don't know. Even in that scenario, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Cool card. Also, this guy needs to chill.
He just wants to stab you, man.
Yeah.
He is the Blade of Cthulhu. He is, he's a
stabby,
crazed...
stab.
At least if he's going to murder me, I'm about to be murdered by a solid gold dagger.
He's a crazy cultist. He just wants to murder everything.
Yep.
That's what he does.
His beard is almost the same color of that dagger.
Super fun at parties, though, that guy.
Is he? Fun fact, actually really fun at parties.
Yeah. Totally chills out once you've had a couple tequilas.
Well, let's talk about Bladed Cultist. A common rogue minion, costs 1 mana, has 1 attack, 2 health, and a combo that reads gain +1/+1.
Okay.
Not bad. Not
Yeah.
great, but not bad.
You'll see it in Arena sometimes, but I doubt this ever makes it in Constructed. It's like activates combos, but then has a combo. I don't know. I think there's better 1-drops you can play in Rogue. So, we'll see. But
Yeah.
in Arena, you don't get to choose, right? So sometimes this will come up and you'll be like, oh, okay, 1 mana, 2/3 sometimes. If I can play it after something else. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Let's talk about Blackwater Pirate, which looked like she's having a bad day. Costs 4 mana, has 2 attack, 5 health, and reads your weapons cost 2 less. So this is a neutral pirate minion. So, what do you think? We've got a lot of pirates in Old
we
Gods,
did.
which I'm surprised
Pirates
about.
like weapons.
I would like to try making pirate decks that actually play a whole bunch of pirates now, for sure. I don't think this one is very good, though, because your weapons cost 2 less. You're probably only going to ever hit 1 weapon with that, and you paid more for a 2/5 than you should. So are you really getting a discount? Not really. I don't know. I don't think this will ever go in any. I think you'll make a pirate deck, and this will be a pirate you'll skip. Unfortunately, but.
Oh.
I know, because you don't play like multiple weapons on a turn. This is not, think about Tempo Mage making their spells cost less and then casting a whole bunch of them and doing all this cool stuff. You're not gonna be like, oh sweet, now I can play my Fiery War Axe and my other Fiery War Axe. I'm gonna say like, no, you're gonna do that.
Yeah, that's true. So this would have to survive generally 2 or 3 turns before you get another
Before you
discount.
get to do it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it said 3 less or something, then I could play this and a weapon in the same turn and have it be like a big tempo play that turn. But I don't know if this 2 less is enough.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's talk about Bilefin Tidehunter, a common Murloc minion. Will cost you 2 mana, has 2 attack, 1 health, and a battle cry that reads, summon a 1/1 ooze with taunt.
Which is not a Murloc.
I would rather it have a Murloc.
It'd be cool if it was a 1/1 Murloc with taunt.
Yeah.
But I guess there's already a 2/1 that summons a 1/1 Murloc, so they're basically saying, do you want to decide whether to play this 1/1 taunt to protect your other Murlocs, or do you want to play another Murloc? I think probably you'll just play another Murloc, right?
Yeah, because in a lot of cases that's better for what you're clearly trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Which is Murlocs everywhere.
With Murlocs, yeah. So I don't know. I think it's fine. And in Arena, I think it'll be fine because usually you don't care about the Murloc at all. So having the 1/1 with taunt come out might be better because it might protect your other stuff. So I think this is an upgrade in Arena over the other Tidehunter.
Oh, definitely. It's way better in Arena.
Mm-hmm. Playing multiple bodies is sometimes really, really good there. So
yeah. Chat room, it's good in Evolved decks. Chat room brings up. That's not a bad point to make.
Making multiple dudes, sure.
Yeah. Dude maker. At some point, I want a card called that. just some gnomish invention. Like the base card is just some type of like teleporter, and then it makes a guy.
Nice.
Let's talk about Anomalous, the legendary minion for mages, which costs 8 mana, has 8 attack, 6 health, and a death rattle that reads, deal 8 damage to all minions.
So that's going to clear every board.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
It is. Is that good enough, though, to play in your deck? I don't know. This is for super late-gamey control mages, right? And that's who this is for?
Yeah.
Just don't ever play a lot of minions. It's a death rattle, though, so, the opponent might just decide. I mean, I guess the opponent's never going to decide I'm not going to kill it. But they can probably just run all those minions into it anyway. And then it just was a card you put down and it traded with a board. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's a place for it somewhere, but I don't know. You don't really get to decide when that 8 damage goes off. It's going to kill your own board, too. There's a very specific deck that plays this. It might just be too slow of a card to be good in anything, right?
Yeah, that's definitely my gut reaction as well. And chat, and there are folks in chat room saying, "Hey, I got one, keep or dust." And I think it's too early to say dust on anything definitively. But yeah, this is of the class legendaries. This is one of the ones I'm the least excited for.
Yeah. But again, it's like a super late game grinder type mage. That's like playing one-ofs and stuff and just trying to get to like Renos and all that kind of stuff. I could see this card being used because it is a stall card, essentially. It's going to stall the game out quite a bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But you'll play it on turn 8, and then the opponent might just go like, oh, well, Anomalous is going to kill all my stuff or something. I might as well just hit his face for a bunch of damage or something like that. There's not going to be that many scenarios where this is going to be like so amazing,
Yeah. Nazop decks, maybe? Well, because then if it goes off, it
you
just
don't
kills
want
the
to
board.
bring this back, and
and it also kills Nazoth in the process. I mean,
yeah.
I
don't know, man. I'm not convinced this is a good card yet. I'll have to see it actually be good in a really crazy situation where this would have been the only card that could save you, to then say that I think is a good card.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to Amgam.
Sure.
Amgam Rager. I really feel like I'm Floridaing the hell out of that pronunciation. Amgam Rager is a common minion, 3 mana, 1 attack, 5 health. That's it.
It reads, go in your Hobgoblin deck.
Yes, go straight to wild is what Amgam Rager says.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Do not
go
pass
straight
standard.
to some weird Hobgoblin deck that's being played in Wild right now.
Yep. And my Divine Shield Paladin deck, which will also be running Hobgoblin.
Yeah. It's just reverse Rager, right? But anyway, it could be cool in a Hobgoblin deck. Hell yeah.
Confuzzled.
Oh, Confuzzled. Okay. Another card that you can reverse. Sure.
Confused Priest.
Sure.
Yep. Aberrant Berserker is next. Another common neutral minion. Costs 4 mana, has 3 attack, 5 health, and an enrage that gives it +2 attack.
So just a bigger Berserker.
Yep.
Yeah.
In every way.
Yep. Amanier Berserker.
It's more Amani than Amani Berserker.
Or Amani Berserkier.
This will actually be fairly decent in Arena, though, because you can choose to run it into things and turn it into a 5 attack minion that'll then deal with something else the next turn if it can attack once. So
It has
and it's a 4 mana 3/5, so it fits right into the normal slot that 4 mana cards go into. So it'll be fine there.
Yep. A good chance of getting a 2-for-1 out of that card in Arena.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, a light in the darkness. I love that this is a card, just the name of a card. As an Old War Raider, that makes me really happy.
And the artwork is really, really cool too. It's like all these guys like standing against the tentacles. It's pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
except they're on horses. And guys, I don't know about you, but I know I can't mount an Old War. Anyways, a light in the darkness is a common paladin spell, costs 2 mana, and reads discover a minion, give it +1/+1.
Sure.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
fun
really
card,
cool.
man. I don't know if it's necessarily a good card, but it's a fun card.
That's really cool.
And I think in Arena you pick this card because the +1/+1 and the fact that you'll get to choose a card that's right for your situation is going to be awesome. So in Arena, I think this is definitely a strong pick.
Dills, could you please tell me more about what is right for your situation?
I mean, this chair, this coffee, all this stuff is right for my situation.
Oh man, I could use some coffee right now. I should have
But no,
prepared for this
card,
long.
I think doesn't see play in Constructed. Tons of play in Arena.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cards like that in this set, actually.
Yep. Adult Grizzly is next.
And last, by the way.
Oh, is this the last
Yay.
card? Are we done? We're done.
Did it?
Yes.
Woo! Adult Grizzly is taking us home in the most lackluster way possible. Adult Grizzly is a rare beast druid minion, costs 3 mana, has 2 attack, 2 health, and reads after you summon a minion, give it +1/+1.
So this goes in my Dank Whispers deck?
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. I didn't even think
Living
about that.
Roots? It could
Living
Roots.
Roots.
Sure.
Living Roots,
Sure.
which a lot of people typically cast on turn 1, but yeah, why not? Why not save it for Adult Grizzly?
Yeah. So I play this and I play Dank Whispers and I get a bunch of 2/2s, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't ask a lot of you.
and it's a beast, so I guess I could play some beast synergy in there too. I don't know. I think it's a card that's okay in very specific decks, but not
And you
exciting at all.
were you were hoping for Token Druid to come back with the
Yeah.
loss of combos. So do you think this is enough? Because this is really great if you're running a token deck.
I mean, the
Violet
Savage
Creature?
Roar still exists the way it exists, right? So generating tokens is definitely, I think, still a strong, viable strategy in Druid. So we'll see. I think it's a very specific style of deck, like I said, and I'll try it, but I'm not convinced this is actually good. But if it gets +2/+2 on any other minions, right? If I get at least 2 minions out with it, then it's actually pretty good value, right? So
Right.
you're getting 4/4 worth of value out of a 3 mana card, but it just requires you to combo something. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be okay. It's just paying 3 for a 2/2 just feels bad, and Beast Druid is still really not a thing.
Yeah.
Time will tell. We'll see if maybe things change enough in Old Gods in the long run.
But again, I don't think this is really in Beast Druid. I think it's literally just in Token Druid, right?
oh no, I agree.
yeah.
I was just bringing that up because it is indeed a beast.
Yeah. And someone mentioned, you can get it from Infest, or you can get it from Web Spinners. Or you can get it from, you know what I mean? So like, there's other ways to get it in Hunter.
In
which
Hunter,
would make
yeah,
it
which is actually kind of sick. Yeah.
when you unleash. Yeah.
Yep. Oh man. Oh, that will be terrible. I'm gonna be so sad when that happens against me.
It's going to.
Yeah, at some point. At some
At
point.
some point, it is going to happen.
Yep.
Yes.
It's just a matter of if, sorry, just a matter of when, not if.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go, me.
So yeah, a lot of cards, but we did it.
Yep.
I'm impressed with us.
long chat. But anyways, everyone, now that you have listened to that, well, hopefully while you were listening to that, you were either working or you were already enjoying Old Gods. But if you weren't, get out there and enjoy Old Gods. There's so many new, crazy, ridiculous cards.
It's been a lot of fun.
Next week, we'll just get to settle in and talk about it as a whole. rather
I'm
than trying to
really
discuss
looking
every
forward
single
to the show getting back to a regular kind of segmented bit.
Yeah.
But oh man, it's gonna be good. And chat room has brought it up many times. But yes, I believe we did already discuss the flavor text on Xeris. Or have we? Have we discussed the flavor text on Xeris?
I think we might
Not
have
on
talked
the
about
show.
it in stream
Oh
yesterday.
yeah, we talked about it yesterday, but that didn't go up on the podcast. So definitively, for the podcast, yeah. Yo, crap, yeah, we do need to mention a few things. So yeah, Shifter Xeris's flavor text. Everyone should go read it because it's the best flavor text in the game. about one of the greatest things to ever happen to the Hearthstone community. And also, if you haven't noticed, Sorry emote is gone, WoW emote is in, and you need to all go make yourselves Ragnaros and hit WoW to see the best ode to Jocelyn that has ever been created.
It makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Best day ever. Ever.
Yep. Hey, Jocelyn, how hot is Ragnaros' new WoW emote?
So hot.
She hated this too, by the way. She didn't like it at first, but look at you now.
It's kind of
In
my
the
thing
game.
now.
That's how this goes, right? The more you complain about something, the more it becomes your thing, because it'll never stop. People will never stop sending me Crackle jokes and photoshopping me onto Crackle. Like, it's never going to stop. And whatever, it's fine. I'm glad that I anyone ever even gave enough of a crap to meme me. So no, super freaking cool. This expansion has been I think it's just felt super special for us, partially because of the TAC references that have been put into the game. But what a damn good expansion just out the gate. So excited.
Much more exciting than TGT.
Yeah.
TGT is now exciting again, though, by the way.
True.
Yeah. Oh, what is going on here?
Hey-o.
That's interesting.
And welcome to the Angry Chicken, everybody.
Probably when you came back into the scene, it
reloaded the
video?
thing, and I totally told it when finished do nothing, but I guess I didn't save it from last time. Well, now we know. Now
The
we
more
know.
you know.
And knowing is half the battle. Well, everyone, hope you enjoyed what so many of you have asked for, which isn't a stupidly long Angry Chicken. You got it. We did it. Thanks again to our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/TAC. And if you are listening on iTunes, keep those 5-star reviews coming, because iTunes reviews help the show get new listeners. Let's thank Nutcase168, Jim Wazinski, who I cannot believe didn't leave us a review until now. Jim. And I will remind you of this the next time I see you at the fireside. Nancy Pants, who wins the name game this week, who said chicken fried Hearthstone.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, Steve Machine 17. Thank you guys for your 5-star reviews. We really do appreciate them. Check us out on amove.tv or subscribe to the YouTube channel over at youtube.com/amovetv. Big fat thanks to our patron producers over at Patreon, Declan H., Peter Williams, Maddock, and Louie. You can get our coffee mugs and pint glasses over at bit.ly/amovestore, and our t-shirt is for sale at slashloot.com. You can follow the show on Twitter at TAC Podcast, and we will return next Tuesday at a normal time of 4 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/amovetv. No Brawl this week because it's a repeat, so don't be looking for that on the Brawl feed. Catch us live on virtually any device thanks to alphageekmedia.com, and big fat thanks to Brian Griffith for our intro music. Check out his work at briangriffithmusic.com. Dills, where can folks find you complaining about Aggro Shaman?
Well, probably not doing that much more anyway. I'm over it. I let it all out today on the show. Thanks for listening, guys. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Willie Dills. The stream is twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF. The instance is the World of Warcraft podcast, the Stormcast. Talk about Heroes of the Storm. And the YouTube channel, youtube.com/WillieDillsSF. I'm going through all of my footage from the San Francisco trip. There's a lot. So it may take me a while to sift through everything and actually get a video up, but I'm going to try to get something up by tomorrow for sure. And then later tonight there will be a stream. So come back for that. And that's it.
Sweet. Jocelyn, how about you?
Right here on AMove TV every Wednesday night for the Gamers In, which we're going to be doing in about an hour and a half. And then you can find everything that I do and links to Twitter, Twitch, everything on jossplays.com, including my new show, Joss vs. the World, which is all about PvP. Yay!
And has some of the most dope-ass art I've seen in a while.
I know, it's so good, right?
So sweet. Totally freaking sweet. Although now you need to dye your entire hair pink and build yourself a set of armor.
I know. I need to cosplay as me.
That'd be great. Get Bill on it. Hey, Bill, I need armor. Folks, you can follow me on Twitter at Garrett Art. You can check out Into the Nexus, where I talk about Heroes of the Storm. You can check out The Angry Nerd, where I talk to myself, usually about video games, but sometimes just about life and junk. Also, check out squarespace.com. Use the code TAC at checkout. Get 10% off your first order. Support the show in the process. And that is going to do it. Thanks for tuning in. Have fun, everyone out there in Old God's lands. Don't let the whispers drive you mad. And until we meet again, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes!
Hooray! No more cards.
Yep. Until next time,
Yep.
when there's a bunch of cards again.